Good evening to you wherever you may be, and welcome to HQ TV, where tonight here at Shafter High School it is homecoming and the designated official dedication of the newly renovated stadium. I'm Doug Thompson, and joining me right now is Jackson Sanchez, and later on we'll have Tyler Thompson with us. So Jackson, as a player, being with all the hoopla, what does each kid need to think about?
Well, yeah, like you said, going through the week, you got a lot of distractions. I would say this is probably the second biggest week of distractions besides Wasco week for the Shafter Kai kids. And when it's your homecoming, you got to focus on one thing Friday night, and that's winning the game. So you got all those events going on. That's great. But at the end of the day, what you're going to remember is who won the game or not. So they just got to focus one play at a time, treat it like any other game. They'll be all right.
Yep, it should be, and it should be a night of great festivities. Speaking of homecoming and the stadium, we were able to speak with athletic director Brian Feaster earlier in the week, talking about the stadium, what it took to get here to this point, and I think we might have that now. Our conversation with athletic and activities director Brian Feaster. I guess we're still here. We go. We're waiting for. We see the youth football team on the field right now. We're still waiting to see if we can get that early interview with Mr. Feaster.
While we're waiting for that too, the Shafter Commanders have had a really good season across the board. I think most teams are started off 2-0 or 1-1, and they played Liberty's feeder team and Frontier's feeder team, and they got really good coaches down there. I actually know some of the high school coaches around Little League as well.
Yeah, it's really good to see the youth program back. I mean, you hate to keep hitting the same thing over and over, but COVID did a lot to hurt all activities at the high school level, whether it be athletics, band, drama. You know, the kids weren't able to participate, and it's good to see a pretty good sizable group of young boys, and hopefully that can feed into Shafter's program and make for a good future of Generals.
And the good thing about that, too, the receiver coach for the Generals, Fortina Valdivia, has taken over the whole Commanders organization. So what he's done, he's actually took Perucci's offense and implemented that all the way across the boards to the little kids, so that by the time they get into high school, they already know what to do. They're ahead of the game already. So it should work out in the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's really important. I know that schools, for example, in the Clovis schools, they get their feeder programs, use the same terminology, and they water it down to where the young kids can have the basic idea of what to expect to get to the high school level, and they get excited knowing that as they develop physically, they can start doing some of the other things they see the high school kids do. So that's a good point. And again, it's exciting for Shafter High. I've just been informed that I guess there's some technical difficulties. We can't bring you the interview with Mr. Feaster. I do apologize for that, for this delay. Once again, this live stream is via HQTV and is brought to you by students. These high school kids take a lot of pride. They spend a lot of time in trying to put together a good quality program for all of us here, and sometimes along the way we have a few bumps and bruises. Joining us in the booth is Bakersfield College coach Tyler Thompson. Tyler, it's good to have you here. You know that this is homecoming, so as a coach, we have homecoming. This is the official recognition that a new stadium and stuff. So as a coach, what are you thinking about that you have to say to your kids before a game like this?
Oh, just ignore the noise. You have all the excitement and stuff, and the new stadium's great, but they've already played in it once. So I think that, playing in a new and improved stadium, that's already kind of past them. And as far as all the rush and excitement with, the crowd and the lights and all the events that were going on throughout the week, the most important thing tonight is obviously the football game. And so they just have to do what they were coached to do all week and play hard.
Well, I know that they've got a very special fanfare coming onto the field tonight, and they're going to be going to that live. For those of you watching, this should be pretty cool. The technology and the time of effort put forth by Mr. Prucci's video development class and these kids behind all of this. As you can see, you can't quite see, but we have the kids getting ready to come onto the field, and I think it will make for a very, very neat start to hopefully a very special evening for the Generals here at Shafter. Here we go.
Home. It is said that the best journeys lead you back home. Our journey has taken 20 straight games away from those that we love and care for. 1,270 miles traveled on a school bus. Through 22 cities and towns in 15 different stadiums. Each time those big wheels turned, each time falling asleep on a cold seat brought us closer to home. Traveling through those different cities and schools helped us realize how much we missed our home. That there is no substitute for our home. That there is nowhere like our home. It's only now, as our old journey ends, that a new chapter in our journey begins. And as the tall lights are once again turned on for the people of Shafter to gather as a community and watch their generals, do we see that our journey, though hard, was well worth it. So it is with great humbleness and excitement that we, your Shafter Generals, get to finally say, we are home.
his goal is to have drones like this during the game, use this as film, as filming the game and stuff. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Pretty amazing stuff here at the high school level. And I'll go back to you, Coach. Is that too much of a distraction, or is that just something that might get the team, this is pretty cool. Let's get out there and get after it.
Yeah, I think it's all what you condition your players and how they're going to handle something like that. Obviously a high school kid, that's really exciting for them to have that type of hype and excitement before the game, with all the lights and stuff. So I think it's only a positive because it gets you more excited to play the game. I don't really think you need lights and you need a big spectacle to be motivated to play a football game. But, anything that could help get your team going is obviously a benefit from a coach's point of view.
How about from a player's point? Jackson, you were here just 3-4 years ago. So what do you think is going through their minds?
Well, I think a lot of these players, high school football is the only football they ever get to play in their whole entire life. So if you can make it a big spectacle, I say why not? Again, what Coach said, don't let it get out of hand. Don't let your players lose focus of the game. Because at the end of the day, if you lose this game, homecoming goes down the drain. Doesn't matter what all the spectacle was before.
All right, well, coming off an emotional 1-point loss last week in their South Sequoia League opener, the Generals hope to bounce back tonight with a tally in the win column against the Wildcats from Taft. You've seen some of the figures for Taft as they come into tonight's game. What do you think, Jackson?
Taft, they're a spread team on offense, which is kind of surprising. They haven't been one in the past, but they definitely still like to run the football. They got a quarterback in Jace Moore, who's really their go-to guy. I think he's about 6'3", and he can move. So look for Taft to get the ball in his hands every single play, either throwing or running the ball.
Shafter will be without number 6, Jesse Bernal, who has a very slight hairline fracture. Bernal, a senior wide receiver and return man, has been electrifying the last 2 weeks. They expect him to be out perhaps 2 to 3 weeks. Another example of the importance of the reserve or the role player. So what do you tell kids like, Coach, who might be a role or reserve player each day in practice?
Well, I think if you have to input a player that's normally doesn't have a lot of experience, number one, want to give them a lot of confidence, before you put them in a high stress or high pressure role. You never want a kid with little to none experience going out there, with the intent to fail. So you want to give them a lot of confidence in practice, and you want to handle that situation in a more positive manner, as you build them up and, make plays. And then, the age-old saying of next man up, I hate to say that, and it's such a cliche, but, that's the truth. That's football, being in that it's a contact sport. Guys go down consistently throughout the season. you have to have another guy in place. And so that's where your development comes in. You can't just develop the 11 that are on the field. You have to develop the next 11 behind them. So when situations like this do arise, it's not something that the kids can't handle because they're used to it. So I think that's the most important thing. Give the kids some confidence, but keep in mind from a program's perspective. I mean, those kids should have been practicing. They should have been being developed already. So it's not a huge jump for them jumping in a game.
Jackson, as a player, I'm sure you've heard coaches say, "Hey, you're just one injury away from getting in there." Do the players really buy into that?
I would say so. I mean, every player is going to think to themselves, "Oh, I'm not going to get injured. It won't ever happen to me." But when it does, it kind of shell shocks you, But I think the best thing Prucci does is he really create a family atmosphere that wasn't here before him on the football team. So I know Bernal, he's a good kid. He's going to hype up the guy that's playing in his spot tonight. He's going to help him out through practice this past week. So they'll be just fine.
Let's hope so for the Generals. Taft, they have a running back, and is it Cyrus Gaylord? Is either their main running back, I think. He's carried the ball for 405 yards and scored 6 touchdowns. They don't seem to pass the ball. They've only passed for 277 yards, but we thought that last week with Chavez. Do you think Chavez would watch that film and maybe come out and try and do the same thing against Shafter tonight?
I really think they're going to run the ball tonight. They got some big boys in the backfield, and I think they're just going to try to pound the ball. When you're playing a spread team like Shafter, you got to control the clock. That's the only way you can slow them down. I mean, Shafter lost last week, but they still hung up for points. So I think Shafter's defense just got to be better tonight.
Well, we're going to find out, and I know that with halftime, we have our special guest will be Mr. Russell Shipley. He's the principal here at Shafter, and let's hope that we have something good to talk about and what the boys do. Coach, who do you guys have this week up there at BC?
We have Mount San Antonio College, the age-old rival of Bakersfield College. So
they're always pretty loaded, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
they just reload every year.
Oh yeah, they do. They have a good coaching staff. The same head coach has been there quite a while, and he was assistant before he's a head coach, so he knows how that college operates. And that college, actually, a lot of people don't know, it's a very big college. I think their student population's about 50,000 students. And so they're in that area where there's not a lot of other junior colleges, and so they have a huge recruiting pool to pull from. Plus they bring in a lot of players from outside the state of California. And it's a lot like Bakersfield College in the 90s and early 2000s. It's a storied program. It's well known for football, and so it can attract high caliber players, which then will give you a high caliber football team. But they've been the same. They're very big up front. They're very powerful. They come after you on defense. They're very active on defense, especially up front. So, they're a quality football team.
All right. Well, for those of you who are out there and enjoy supporting our local boys, Bakersfield College Renegades kickoff tomorrow night at Memorial Stadium at 6:00 p.m. It'd be a good place to take the family, take your youngster to watch, some good college football here at the local level. And it might answer some questions for some parents out there looking at what takes at the next level. Jackson, you played up there, and how big of a difference was it from the high school level to junior college?
People don't realize about junior college, you have a lot of D1 athletes that have to go to junior college to get to that D1 level. So I'd say the biggest difference when I got there was the speed of the game. You got linemen running sometimes as fast as running backs and stuff like that. But my time there was great. I loved it. I mean, the atmosphere was great. Some of my best friends came from that place, so I love my time there.
That's good. We're getting ready for the national anthem. I believe. Perhaps to get ready for the national anthem after Jefferson Starship.
It's a good song.
It is. I guess stars and starships before stars and stripes. There's nothing wrong with that. The captains tonight for Shafter going out there. Number 11, that's running back Koa Rhodes. Number 55, that is Parker Valderrama. And number 77 is Jeff Vanderpool. And number 66 has Ethan Lapp. I know I was talking with Coach Frucci. He was hoping that Geronimo Seja, number 75, can have another outstanding game on defense as he did last week against Chavez. I do know that Coach Frucci was a bit concerned with the pass defense and that that Chavez was able to throw the ball as effectively as they did in that first half. You see out there the honorary captain for Shafter is Mr. Gary Kern, class of 1967. He will be tossing the coin in the air. Gary has just a vast plethora of knowledge about Shafter High. You see him on the street, you want to know about Shafter, ask him. You can't find a better human being around.
Or Shafter football in general.
Correct. Looks like Taft won the toss. They elect to receive. And it looks like what you're saying, Jackson, they understand that Shafter defense, so they was keep them off the field, so they're going to go. I know, Tyler, you're a defensive coach. If you like to defer, don't you, and go on defense first? And
yeah, it varies by game. You know, it's a strategy thing. You know, I think if you think you can try put 6 on them really quick from an offensive standpoint, that's a huge momentum booster. If you can score on the opening drive of the game, that kind of sets the tone. You know, on the other hand, if you're concerned about your ability to get down the field and your defense is playing well, and you think you have the upper hand, you know, on their offense, you usually like to defer. You know, and also you have to think about getting the ball to start the second half as well, which is always a plus.
here we go for the playing of our national anthem. You know, one thing last week, we had a trio of freshmen who really played some big parts in the game. I know tonight, for Shafter especially, number 2, Marion Sloan, as receiver and return man, figures great. I mean, they have to have him step up. Number 33, Nick Rossetti, linebacker on defense. For a freshman, he was really filling the holes last week and was just, you know, making things happen defensively. And, of course, the freshman quarterback, Ezekiel Osborne. You've seen him, play. What do you like about Ezekiel?
I mean, during this whole season, even in that Chavez game, he led a potential game-winning drive at the end of the game. He didn't lose his cool. He threw a pick the drive before, and he didn't let that get to him. And I think that stands out to me. You don't see a lot of 15-year-old kids have that poise that he has. So I think that's his best attribute.
Deep for Taft is number 4, Richard Jennings. He's a 5'10" senior. Number 4, Ernesto Guerrero. Set the kickoff for the Generals. He's proven his foot. Last week he put a couple balls in the end zone. He seems to be a lot more confident with his kicking. It's unfortunate he did miss that field goal. That could have been a game winner. But you know what? Kid's out there and he's doing a good job.
Field position is huge in high school football, so to have a kicker that can get in the end zone is big time.
Yes. And just like that, he's down to the 2-yard line. What a great hit. Good coverage. That's number 22 for Shafter. That is Jesus Vasquez, and number 10 put the final lick, Joel Garza. Good coverage by the Generals. They're going to place the ball around the 15, 16-yard line, 1st and 10 for Taft to take over.
Wildcats ball. They'll be 1st and 10 on the 16-yard line.
Two deep backs for Taft as they start off with their offense. There's a give. Not much going there. It's number 22. That's Gaylord, the main running back, and just like you call it there, Jackson, they're going to try and keep them on the ground.
I do think besides the struggles Shafter had on defense last week, a big thing that was their defensive line. They played outstanding last week. They got pressure on the quarterback a ton.
Brings up a 2nd down and 10. Number 4 right there again for Taft. That was Jennings on a fly sweep around the left side offensively, brought down by, is that number 55 maybe for Shafter? And number 11, Koa Rhodes. A pickup of about 3.5, 4 yards, brings up 3rd and 6 for 7.
That's 2 plays back to back. They attack perimeter of Shafter. It's interesting to see if they're going to let that quarterback air it out right here.
What a great catch right there. You're right. You called that one. He aired it out. Number 7 for Brian Rodriguez.
That was a nice pass by J.C. Moore, too. I mean, it was RPO option, so run pass option. The receiver did a good job getting separation from the – and Shafter struggled with that last week, too, people throwing the ball on him. So, like you said, Doug, maybe we see Taft throw a little bit more tonight.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is always, you have a 3rd and 8, which is almost always pass, and then, you see players even in college fall for play-action fakes. It's always something so interesting.
There's a fumble in the play. Taft quarterback falls on it. Oh, I hope we don't get a flag there, but that was a 20-yard. Seemed kind of like no one knew what was going on. It looked like maybe Taft might have jumped anyways. A missed snap. Their quarterback ran back, Jace Moore, and fell on it. But the 20-yard loss, it's 2nd and 30, looks like.
Yeah, you actually see that a lot with gun teams, especially when you have sideline checks. The quarterback will look sideline for the change of call, and then the center will hear something and take that as the signal to snap it. And it happens quite frequently.
Get up the middle again. This time, short gain. Maybe a pickup of 3.
If you're going to run the ball in Shafter, I think you have to try to run on the perimeter or outside, because up front in the middle, they got some beefy boys that really stuff it. So I think Taft going forward, if I were them, I would try to run more outside.
Looks like that was Caleb Kozlowski on the carry. They gave him 4 yards, 3rd down and 26. Here we go again, you guys. Like you're saying, obvious passing situation.
Yeah, I'm looking for a screen, maybe some some screen where you just get it out to the back, maybe a tailback draw, maybe even quarterback draw because he's mobile.
Here comes what a nice job. Immediate pressure. Number 24 for Shafter's in very, very quickly. That's Rafael Roman Amador. Rafi was on the quarterback before even doing on. Taft is 4th and half the football field to go, 42 yards.
Yeah, that's why you want to be pretty conservative on a 3rd and 22 play. You want to try and make up some of your yardage back. You know you're probably going to have to punt it. And you don't want to really drop back and try it thrown down in the field unless you know you have a mismatch.
Ball hits on the Shafter side of the 50, bounces backwards across the 50 into Taft territory. Shafter will have it for their first offensive series, 1st and 10 at the Taft 48-yard line. And what you were saying earlier, Jackson, about the freshman quarterback being poised, let's see if he can continue that with this first drive. That was a nice defensive stand for Shafter, helped by, of course, the errant snap.
I could see Shafter coming out with a screen to start off this game. In the past, Perucci's loved screen plays versus Taft.
Rhodes is in the backfield. Oh, nice block up the middle. Good run by Rhodes. Nice hesitation. Needs a block. He has a block. Keeps his feet moving. Well, he didn't need a screen pass, but that was a nice 48-yard touchdown run. Rhodes did a good job of changing his speed, direction, and a nice block downfield by number 22. I think that was Jesus Vasquez, J.J. Vasquez.
Another guy we talked about, Marion Sloan, you're going to see on the replay here, he got a good block downfield. That's what you like to see from a freshman receiver. It's fun as a receiver to catch the ball, but if you really want to play, especially at the next level, you got to block. He did a great job.
Well, it's like you're saying there, Coach, if you can score early on your first possession, and Shafter did that, that's a nice start for the Generals.
Yeah, and scored running the ball. If you can come out on the first play of your opening drive and run it 48 yards, that definitely sets the tone.
Especially on the first play that you get the ball.
Yeah, that was a nice job. Guerrero, nice kick for the PAT. He's got a good leg. We talked about this last week a little bit. When he missed that field goal, a lot of times young kickers think they've got to put extra oomph into it. But he has a nice, strong leg, and sometimes they tend to kind of, pull it a little bit. But nice start for Shafter with 7:35 to go in the first quarter. Generals 7, Wildcats nothing. So if you're the defensive coach for Shafter, what do you think Taft might do differently?
Well, they had success throwing deep down the field. So on 3rd, like Coach said, you just have to play a little bit more off, I think, for the DBs, and just don't have your eyes in the backfield. Don't fall for another play action. Don't fall for any of the fancy stuff. Just focus on your man.
Okay, Guerrero set the kick. And again, for Taft, number 4 back there is Richard Jennings to set to return. Last time was a great coverage by the Generals that kept him inside the 20. Let's see if they can do it again this time. On these emotional games, the special teams really play a big role. Low line drive kick. It will get into the end zone.
Looks like it's going to be offside here on the kickoff.
Didn't see the flag come out. That's exactly right. guess sometimes they just get a little bit excited on that kickoff.
Yeah, I was watching my alma mater play tonight, and there was actually an offsides on the kickoff, a legal procedure by University of Air Force. So it happens even at the next level.
Yeah, and with Air Force, that's really amazing because those guys are smart.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic of a team.
Here we go. Guerrero set the kick. This time it sends a high end over end, taken at about the 5-yard line, coming up the middle here to the right side. This time he breaks through that second level. Guerrero slows him down. Boy, it's a nice return up to the Shafter 22, 23-yard line. That was number 4 again, Richard Jennings.
So right there, Shafter special teams, especially the gunner, he just got a little bit too downfield. So once you get to who's blocking you, you got to chop your feet, break down, so that doesn't happen. And you also got to stay in your lanes. You just can't run up the field or lanes open just like it did there.
Yeah, that's something the coaches don't want to see after we score, and then an offsides, and now a 70-yard return. Taft takes over at the Shafter 25-yard line, 1st and 10, 7:23 in the first quarter. There's a handoff, number 22 on the left side. Cuts back against the grain. Brought down by Rafi there, number 24. That was 22 for Taft. Gaylord. There is a flag on the play. And where is thrown, you usually holds, but we'll call is going to be. It's holding. Another nice break for the Generals. Looks like they had the runner stop, but he made a nice cut back against the grain. And that kid he's a good running back. He's our leading rusher, and it's not by accident.
And regardless of the penalty there, that was an outside perimeter play, so I suspect Taft to try to do that all night, knowing that they might have success with it.
Number 44 for Shafter checked in the game. That's Chris Espinosa. Taft back to pass is incomplete. There was nobody there, but he was outside the tackle box.
Yeah, I think they were setting up a fake hitch screen and go. So what they did, they got out the number 2 receiver to block the corner, fake like he's blocking the corner, and the number 1 receiver stepped back from the line of scrimmage. And it looked like the quarterback was looking for him to take off and run down the sideline, but must have been a miscommunication on the play call.
That pass fell incomplete. It's 2nd and 20. The ball is at the Shafter 35. Again, for joining us, Shafter's ahead 7-0 or 6:33 in the first quarter. Again, Moore's back pass, throwing it up deep down the left side. There's a flag on the play. I thought the receiver pushed off, we're going to find out.
Yeah, he was, that's always a call that's interesting. The DB was in great, what we call lead position. His top shoulder was on the pec of the receiver, and he looked back for the ball. And so he's playing the receiver with his shoulders, not his hands. So there was really no contact other than his shoulder pushing against the receiver, which, is really not considered pass interference. But, it's always – calls are always they vary.
Yeah, it looks like it, especially at the high school level, and you're in a – well, let's see. No, yeah, okay. At the high school level, like you were saying, Coach, I thought the DB was in great position. It looked like from our vantage point on the screen here that the receiver might have pushed off, but 99 times out of 100, it'll be defensive pass interference.
And on something like that, too, he got his head around. I think that's the biggest thing. If he doesn't get his head around, then maybe call it. But you got to let the kids play, in my opinion.
2nd and 5 for Taft. There's a procedure penalty. Looks like the receiver up there, number 2 for Taft, was a bit anxious. It's Blaine Newdorf. Now we're back at 2nd 10. The ball's back to the original line of scrimmage at the 25-yard line. You got Gaylord and Kozlowski in the backfield for Taft. They give us to Gaylord, cuts back to the left, avoids one tackle, avoids a second tackle, keeps his feet moving. There's a flag on the play.
Yeah, they're just back to the old school Taft. That was just a good old two-back power. There wasn't – Shafter did not have a cutback there. They played it well on the front side, but the running back saw a seam on the back side. And if you don't have a cutback on gap scheme plays, and if the running back finds that backside hole, that usually results in a big run like it did there.
It did this. I mean, it's fortunate because the Gaylord made a real nice run and kept his feet moving, but there was a hold against Taft, moves the ball back 10 yards, can replay 2nd down. It's 2nd and 9.5, 2nd and 10. There's 6:17 to go in the first quarter. The ball's just outside the Shafter 25-yard line. You have Kozlowski in the backfield with the quarterback. Gaylord's out to the slot side. Keeper by the quarterback that time. Like you were saying earlier, that he likes to run the ball, and he has pretty good legs there, Jackson.
For Shafter, I think you got to really focus on containing the edge there, too. I mean, he got tackled. It was still a 7-yard gain, but it could have been a lot more if he breaks that tackle. So just keeping the edge contained.
They give him a long 5. They're going to call it 3rd and 5. The ball is just right near the Shafter 20-yard line. That last tackle by number 8, Luciano Bernias. There's a give up to Gaylord, up the middle again. Taft's line is getting a good push because he just, I mean, that was just straight up the gut, off that A and B gap, and the Shafter's defensive line.
Yeah, and they're hitting Shafter with a variety of running plays. You know, the opening series, they attacked the perimeter with the fly outside zone. You know, now they've come back to more two-back traditional plays. That was an ISO play. Now you have power, you have counter. So they're throwing a lot of run concepts at them, which can be difficult to defend because it's hard to really coach or defend against offensive tendencies when they have 7-8 concepts that they vary, you know, as they move down the field.
It was a nice pickup, and Taft has it 1st and goal at the Shafter 4-yard line with 5:12 in the first quarter. And there was a timeout on the field by Shafter. The defensive coaches are trying to get the troops reorganized.
A lot of times, too, I've noticed Shafter's running a 3-man front. They're moving them around. But usually when you have a 3-man front and your defensive ends are wider alignments, 4-eyes or 5s, you usually see teams trying to attack inside. So it looks like they made adjustments on moving people outside. Now Taft is attacking their inside. So it's going to be that chess match in the run game all night.
Get the ball up inside again. Looks like Taft they've got a touchdown. Just got a good old-fashioned push up there, and the running back kept his feet churning. Looked like that was Gaylord.
To me, what stood out the most on that drive, Taft's being the more physical team up front, too. They've always been a physical program, though.
Oh, yeah. This game, it's interesting. It reminds me of my high school days here when Taft, when they had a big offensive lineman, big running backs. They had a running back named Ben Estel, who I actually played with at Bakersfield College. And they were 22 personnel, 21 personnel, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs, and they would just run right at you.
The kick by number 7, Brian Rodriguez, was no good. A little wide to the left side. So with 5:04 left in the first quarter, Shafter remains on top, 7-6. Yeah, that was a pretty. I mean, they just good old-fashioned. We're gonna beat you up front, and they move the ball down on the ground.
If you can really set the tone running the football offensively, and from a defense perspective, you have to stop the run first, because if you can stop the run, teams won't need to pass, and they can wear you down really fast. And so I would like to believe most defensive schemes are built, or their philosophy is to stop the run or slow the run down and force teams to throw, especially at the high school level when you don't have, super highly accurate quarterbacks.
Back to Shafter is J.J. Vasquez and Koa Rhodes, number 22 and number 11 respectively. Set the kick for Taft. Like that's their kickoff guys, number 41. Boy, we were lucky there. That ball is live and looked like it took a funny bounce, and J.J. Vasquez appeared to try and pick it up. Luckily for us, number 2, the freshman, Marion Sloan, is there to recall.
I think Vasquez was looking for that to go out of bounds, but just took a funky hop, like you said. And those are the worst to receive. That's the worst type of kick to try to get.
Yeah, another old saying, football is shaped a funny way, bounces a funny way. Shafter takes over on its second drive. The ball is at the Shafter 20 here on the near hash mark on the home side. Rhodes is in the backfield behind Osborne. The give is to Rhodes. Off that right side, he got through, but was immediately hit. Brought down after a short gain. Tackles made by number 25 for Taft. That's Caleb Kozlowski. They give Rhodes a gain of about 3 yards, 7. Once again, they give to Rhodes. Up that right side, but very slow going. Tackled by number 9. That's Brock Heber. And number 52, I think that was, or 54. 54 for Taft. That's Dagan Spear. Very modest pickup of a couple of yards. 3rd and 5. The pass was intended out there for Marion Sloan, and they might have had it, but just either got it ripped out or just didn't see it in. So that brings up a 4th down.
And the quarterback, he just put a little too much air on the ball. If you're going to throw a quick pass right at the sticks to get a 1st down, the quarterback's got to get it in his hands, and he's got to get rid of it fast, especially when you have tight coverage. And so there's just a little too much air on the ball, which buys time for the defensive back to break and close space on the receiver.
Another major thing, I think that outside shoulder is on the inside shoulder of the receiver, which gives the opportunity to the DB to pick it off.
Throw on the kick. Taken very quickly, a nice quick 12-yard return by number 4 for Taft, Richard Jennings. Crosses midfield to Shafter territory, and Taft has excellent field position at the Shafter 42-yard line, 1st and 10. There's 3:42 left in the first quarter. This would be a big series for sure. If they can stop the ball as well as can Taft continue to march down the field.
Yeah, and Taft's going to continue to run the ball. You know, if that last drive, they kind of made a statement. You know, why would you come out and change anything?
There was a flag on the play, but it's picked up. There was no call. We don't know what they were referring to. Looks like Kozlowski's in the backfield.
Yeah, like Coach said, I would continue to run the ball. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
You'd be surprised that a lot of offense coordinators get really impatient. They want to just throw it down the field.
Here comes the running back off the right edge this time. Nice run by number 22 for Taft, Gaylord.
You know, Shafter came out really fired up. They might have had a little bit of adrenaline dump after that first drive ad.
Rafi Roman Amador on the stop, but not before Gaylord picks up 8 or 9 yards. We'll see if they spot the ball. The ball spotted at the Shafter 35. So it's a pickup of about 7.5. Call it second and a long 2 or short 3. There's Gaylord with the ball on the left side this time. Cuts it to the outside. They're attacking the edge on both sides of the line. Nice pickup by Gaylord.
Yeah, they're just running a fly sweep. So you know the receiver's going in fast motion. And he's getting the ball on the run, so he's got really a head start and to the leverage defenders. And so you know what you have to do is you have to leverage that ball on the edge and force that receiver to cut up inside where your linebackers and your D line can pursue, you know, inside out and make that tackle.
Last tackle by Figueroa, number 7. The ball's handed up the middle, number 21. This time the Generals were waiting for him and no gain at all. That was Cameron Cash. Initially hit. There's Seha, number 75, and along with number 33, Rossetti.
Another thing, too, if Taft splits those two running backs and one of them goes out to receiver, I would just expect fly sweep motion right away. Or later down the game, I could see them faking the fly sweep and just giving the ball a middle.
They give him a yard and a half, 2nd and 9. The ball is right at the Shafter 25-yard line. 2:04 and counting in the first quarter. Back to pass across the middle. Intended receiver just a little over his head. It looks like they're tied in. That's number 85, I think, Skylar Sutherland. See the replay. Maybe have a replay here. Brings up 9 or 8.
I know it's 3rd and long here, but if I'm Taft, I might try another fly sweep. It's had so much success so far. Why not do it again? And you're on the position of the field where you're probably going to go for it if you don't get it.
Yeah, you would think that with the success that they've had, this would be 4-down territory. Taft calls a timeout. There's a minute 48 in the first quarter. Generals on top, 7-6. But Taft is right on the edge of the red zone. When you see, we've seen, for example, when they have their top running back, that's number 22, Gaylord, like out in a slot, and he goes in motion. And like you're saying, it's almost automatic has been that fly sweep.
Yeah, I think one thing you have to look for from a defensive perspective is where they put the tailback. So if you notice when they run that fly sweep, the tailback's offset where the fly's coming from. That they do that because they can utilize him as a lead blocker. And so that's a good key for you. If he goes wide with the fly sweep, it's probably going to be fly sweep. But if he comes back down inside, they're probably running the fly sweep as misdirection and then running the running back, in between the tackles. So, but yeah, you have to, if they're trying to get one of their best players the ball, you have to pinpoint where he's at and anticipate what they're going to do.
Well, you've got Woodards in the backfield along with Gaylord. The quarterback, he pitched out to Gaylord. Nice step, a little missed tackle there. And looks like Gaylord picks up enough for a first down.
That was a good execution by Taft there. That fake was nice by the quarterback. The only thing is that option with the pitch, it's a dangerous play to run in high school because if it goes south, it's probably going the other way. So that was really good execution by Taft.
Yeah, that was just good old dive option. You have three components of that run. You have the dive, you have the quarterback run, you have the pitch man, and so you have to have all three accounted for.
1st and 10, the ball to Shafter 13, a minute 30 in the first quarter. Taft is knocking on the door to give this to the running back number 22 up the middle. This time he's met head on, a short gain. Teja was there on the tackle along with number 55 for Shafter. That's Joe Gutierrez. It's one of the few times in the last few carries that they've held Gaylord to little or no gain. It's no gain at all, 2nd and 10. The clock is just now under a minute here in the first quarter. And you have Woodards and Gaylord in the backfield for Taft. Fake pass going up top. He's got a man overthrown. The pass is intended for number 2, Blaine Newdorf.
You saw the receiver, he moved a split down. So what that does is it buys more space for you if you move your split down between the numbers and the hash, now you have more space on a really not necessarily a goal line fade, but a deep ball fade. So the quarterback just throws it up high and wide, and so the receiver can adjust to it and kind of really run underneath the ball away from where the leverage defensive back is.
In the backfield now is Caleb Kozlowski joining Gaylord for Taft, 3rd and 10. To give this to Gaylord off the right side. Nice job right there. Number 7, Figueroa was there on the stop. So here we go. We're going to see if Taft's going to maybe try and kick a field goal, or they're going to go for his 4th down, and they'll probably give him about gain of 3 or 4. They give him a 4-yard gain, 4th and 6. The ball is just inside the Shafter 10-yard line. There's an official's timeout.
Yeah, you'll probably see Taft go for it here, especially after your kicker missed the AT on the previous score. They're moving the ball well. Why not? But it looks like they're going to kick it.
Yeah, but they're not going to get it off before time expires here at the first quarter. And that's it, the end of the first quarter. Shafter 7, Taft 6. But Taft has it 4th and 6 at the Shafter 9-yard line. Interesting first quarter.
Yeah, coming out of the quarter here, I'm like, Coach, I would go for it. I think in high school football, too much can go wrong with the field goal. So I'll go for it if I'm Taft here.
Yeah, Taft is, and nothing against our boys, but Taft right now is the more physical up front. And like Coach was saying, it looks like they're running some multiple run plays against the Shafter defense, and it's causing some problems for Shafter right now.
Yeah, which, if the offensive coordinator throws his book at you in the first quarter, it's never a bad thing, because then you can ID what they're trying to do against your defense, and then you can make adjustments, in between quarters or at halftime to try and slow them down. So, but yeah, no, it seems like Taft's been able to run the ball willingly throughout the game. So Shafter's going to have to make some adjustments to counter their heavy run game.
Well, they're going to line up for a field goal, and it'll be about a 26, 27-yarder, and they're just inside the right hash mark. It's number 7, Brian Rodriguez, and he kicks it through the uprights.
That's a good job by the kicker there, bouncing back from the missed PAT to making that field goal.
Well, that puts Taft ahead 9-7, 11:56 to go in the first half. Shafter has another challenge to answer. There'll be their third possession as they receive the kickoff. And
we talked about Bernal being out too earlier, and I think that's really kind of hurting Shafter on the return game especially. He was a good special team player for them, and not having him back there definitely hurts.
Well, and you have to think, too, Taft only have 2 offensive series. You know, they scored on the opening offensive series, and Taft's really controlled time of possession most of the game, and Shafter really hasn't got a chance, you know, to move the ball down the field. So they really got to use this series to maybe get a couple first downs, try and hold the ball a little longer, try and get the defense a little bit of rest, and hopefully score.
Number 41 for Taft is kicking off. We don't have him on our roster. And if his family's listening, we sincerely apologize, but we just report what we're given. Deep for Shafter is number 22, J.J. Vasquez. It looks like they have Marion Sloan back there also returning, number 2. Kicking the ball to J.J. Bringing up the middle. Makes a cut and brought down hard. Number 4 for Taft, Richard Jennings. Vasquez returns the ball to about the Shafter 30-yard line. See where they give him the spot. They spot it right at the 30-yard line. Shafter will take over 1st and 10 on their own 30. 11:56. I think they ran the clock. Rhodes in the backfield, and they gave this to Rhodes. Nice cut. Cole Rhodes had a game last week, and right now he's really running well. It's a nice 15-yard pickup. 1st and 10 for Shafter.
Rhodes comes into this game averaging 10 yards per carry, which is crazy numbers. So that's probably why Shafter's trying to feed him the ball more and more each game.
He appears to be sneaky fast on the field. The give against to Rhodes up the middle. Once again, he took a nice push by the line.
Well, one thing he's doing well is he's getting vertical. You know, he's hitting the holes hard. You see a lot of high school running backs. They're almost too patient. You have to be patient as an inside zone team, but they're almost too patient. They tend to make too many cuts in the backfield, which buys time for pursuit.
Nice 5-yard gain this time. Osborne back to pass. Nice catch by Figueroa. The ball is completed down to the 40-yard line, or the 41-yard line of Taft. The 14-yard pickup. That time, like you were saying earlier, Coach, looked like the ball was in the air quickly before the receiver made his cut, and Figueroa made a nice reception. 1st and 10 for Shafter at the Taft 41.5-yard line. Espinoza in the backfield for Shafter. Pass out to Figueroa, makes a nice cut, little screen. He might be close to another first down.
It's a nice little hitch screen where they release the offensive lineman out to block the corner, and the receiver follows them, which is always a corner's nightmare.
About the middle, number 44 for Shafter. I'll tell you what, might not look very fast, but he got there pretty quick, and he's got some big, strong legs. Chris Espinoza, nice, again, another pickup of 11 yards. 12 yards inside the Taft 20-yard line, about the 18, 1st and 10. Again, Espinoza, nice hesitation. He's still running. He fumbled the ball, but he was down. No fumble by contact.
We talked about being patient earlier, too. That was a good job about being patient, cutting it back up the middle.
Tackled by Blaine Newdorf, number 2. Shafter's 1st and goal at about the 9-yard line. Again, the ball given to, a touchdown. Oh my! Is my fault. The ball was placed at the 3-yard line, and I'll tell you what, right there, number 44, Chris Espinoza did a nice job of carrying the ball.
I think right there, Shafter picked up the tempo a little bit. I think it kind of tapped a little bit. They weren't able to substitute their players in and out, which can be tiring for a defense. And that's an example of how explosive this Shafter offense is. I think they had the ball for about 2 minutes, maybe a little over, and they already put it in the end zone.
Yeah, they went. They had the ball for 2 minutes and 12 seconds, and they drove the ball 70 yards.
Yeah, it was a good job by Shafter, kind of giving Taft a little dose of their own medicine running the football. And they were just pretty simple running plays. You had inside zone, outside zone. Had the tandem running backs do a really good job of running hard and get on the field.
Offsides of Taft, Shafter declined. That way, I think for the kicker, have a better angle. Ernesto Guerrero there for the kick. Espinoza holding. Kick is up, and it was good. So with 9:48 in the second quarter, Shafter back on top, 14-9. That was a good drive by Shafter. I mean, and I think you guys made a really good point. Their tempo was up, and they just got to the line, and they just were going to be no nonsense. And the line has some good surges, that little couple of quick passes in there, keep them off, on their heels a little bit. Nice job by the Generals.
Yeah, and tempo will always – what tempo does is it really slows the defense down. When offense is fast, as a defense, you don't have time to make adjustments, so you really revert back to just whatever your base calls are because you don't have enough time to really see what they're in and get a good quality call in. And so that really gives you a chance at offense really to dictate what the defense is doing. So it's a good tool to have in your bag as an offensive coordinator.
Okay, once again, number 4, Richard Jennings, deep to receive. He's proven this Jennings kid plays on both sides of the ball. He's right in the middle of the mix. Last time he had a very, very nice return. And set the kickoff, number 4, Guerrero. We have 4-4.
The return's in the middle of the field, too. If I'm Shafter, I'm kicking it right or left. Make him run for it. Make him go get it.
There he goes. Good call. This time he's seeing if it's go out of bounds. Flag no play. I'm going to say we have offsides again. Yes. That's too bad.
Yeah, that was a good kick.
That was a great kick because it just, like you're saying, that's a good call there, Jackson. The ball went to the offensive left side of the field and just spun and stopped. And it's not going to go out of bounds.
If I'm Shafter, I just do the exact same thing.
Maybe kick it this time.
Yeah, maybe
make him
guess.
Make him think. This time kicks it right up the middle to the right side. That kid's a hard runner. I mean, he really has a nice return by Jennings. Brought down by number 5 for Shafter and number 9, Jonathan Escobedo. For Shafter, number 5, they don't have his number. Maybe it's somebody to coach up this week. And again, for your family, I apologize. We'll try and get that name and number before the half. Taft, 1st and 10 at their own 47-yard line, 9:40 in the second quarter. Give the Gaylord up that right side again. Short gain, met first by number 75, Seha, number 24, Rafi Roman Amador, Give him a gain of about 3-4 yards. Brings up second down and 4. Maybe it's 5.
Expect a fly motion here.
It looks like it for that setup. You're right. Here we go. This time give up the middle. It's Kozlowski. 24, Roman Amador on the stop. Kozlowski had a nice pickup of about 4 yards. It's third and a long 1, short 2. The ball's in Shafter territory at about the 47-yard line. Clock is ticking at 8:30 to go in the second quarter. 3rd and 2. You have Kozlowski in the backfield along with Gaylord for Taft. And Shafter, Roman Amador was a little bit anxious that time.
Yeah, Taft just used they use the freeze count trick. You see a lot of teams do that on a -4 third down situation. They'll try to get the defense to jump, and usually it's a good trick just to get an easy first down.
It looked like the quarterback was even looking to see if they were going to jump off sides. But anyway, 1st and 10. The ball's at the Shafter 3-yard line. Gives us to Kozlowski off the right side. Dropped immediately by Rafi Roman Amador. A pickup of about maybe 2. The ball's at the Shafter 41-yard line. 2nd and 8. 7:30 to go in the second quarter.
Kozlowski's a big old boy, too, when he runs the ball. He's like that type of back that just always seems to fall forward, too, when you try to tackle him.
Yeah, he's listed at 215, so that's a pretty good size running back for high school. Back to pass. That's number 4. The pass was complete to Jennings. Short of the first down, but a pickup of about 8. It'd be a 3rd and short 1. The ball is at the Shafter 34. You have to be thinking run here.
Yeah, and you got to watch the football, especially what happened to him last time in 3rd and short.
There's the old trick play again, but this time it went on the wrong side of the ball.
Yeah, that's the only downside of the freeze count. Oftentimes you'll see the team pulling tricks are the ones who get tricked. It's just when you utilize tactics like that, discipline's the most important thing.
Well, here's where that, Jace Moore, he's shown he can run the ball. He doesn't have a bad arm. It's 3rd and 6. The ball's for 39. The ball to Gaylord on this side. Nice job by Shafter defense. Okay, right there, number 56 was just waiting for him. That's Joel Gutierrez, and he just bear wrestled him back for a loss. They will give him a spot at the line of scrimmage. Brings up 4th down. The ball's at, they do give him a lot of about a yard. 4th and 6. The ball's after 40-yard line. 5:40 and counting in the second quarter.
Yeah, I'd look for either a quick kick here by the quarterback, or I would have my eyes on number 2 on the perimeter. They've been playing man coverage all night. They might try a little quick out.
Going back to pass. Going deep. A little bit of contact there, but nothing called. That was coverage by Marion Sloan.
Number 2 on tap did a good job there of breaking cushion. So what he did, he pressed up to number 2 Sloan's feet, and he broke it at the perfect timing. That allows you to get more cushion, but the ball was just a little bit short.
Over on downs, 1st and 10 for Shafter at their own 40-yard line. There's 5:18 to go in the second quarter. Shafter up 14-9. What do you see the Generals doing in this drive? No. They give to Rose off the left side. Makes a nice comes a flag in the play. Keep feet moving before he's knocked out of bounds at the 44-yard line. This one might be coming back. When that was thrown, you always see a hold.
Well, going back to your question, I would continue to run the ball. You know, this penalty's obviously going to be a big deciding factor in your next play call. You know, if you have a holding call, you're going to be back 10 yards from the sticks. So, you know, then it's a 50-50. Do I throw? Do I run? You probably want to run to try and get some of that yardage back. And then make your decision from there.
There's the call. A little confusion in the officials, but they get the call, holding it against Shafter, moves it back 10 yards. So here you go, Coach. We'll see what Shafter does here. It is 1st and 20. The ball's at the Shafter 28-yard line. Osborne back to pass.
We're going to have a late hit there.
Yeah, we're going to have a late hit. I tell you what, it was a good ball. Looked like Figueroa might just went through his hands, and then he got waylaid. Coach, what do you think? Is that one where the receiver was a defenseless receiver at the late hit?
Well, in my opinion, they're out running around. You know, they're never defenseless.
You're spoken like a true defensive back and defensive coordinator. That was a loaded question, wasn't it?
It's tough. You know, it's some of the rules they've created now. You know, there are blatant penalties that can be categorized as a defenseless player, but you know, the kids are playing hard. They're running to the football. They're doing what they're told. You know, if the ball's in the air and the player makes one step past the route, and the defensive back or defender, he's already in position to strike. So it's hard to pull him off that. Obviously, player safety is a huge thing. But then, you know, if you put too much emphasis on that, then you kind of lose the physicality of the game.
Well, they did call a personal foul against Taft. 15-yard penalty, moves the ball up to about the Shafter 43. It'll be 2nd down, and there's going to be about 7. Maybe a long 6. Fake to Rose. This time the quarterback keeps it off the right side. Not a bad little run.
Looks like it was some miscommunication there from Rhodes and Osborne on the handoff.
But turned a positive gain of about 3 yards. It's 3rd down, then a long 2.
Yeah, and that was smart. You know, oftentimes you see the quarterback turn and then he sits there. Where did he go? He just took the ball. It was a smart play by a freshman, just taking the ball and just getting as many yards as he could out of a busted play.
Number 44 up the middle again. Taft's got their big running back. So does Shafter. Chris Espinoza, 5'8", 220-pounder. Up the middle, a gain of about 6 yards. Good enough for the 1st down. Move the sticks. 4:20 in the second quarter. Shafter trying to get the hurry-up offense going. Espinoza stays in the backfield. To give this to Espinoza up the middle. Not much going there. A nice tackle there by Taft, number 85, Skylar Sutherland. He was right there to meet Espinoza. Gave him about a 2-yard gain. Should bring up 2nd and 8. The ball is at the Taft 47-yard line. Rhodes in the backfield for the Generals. Quick pass.
It was there. He's got to catch that ball. They set up another screen for him, and it was if he had a gap where the lineman made, that could have went for a touchdown.
J.J. Vasquez, ball went right through his hands. Incomplete. 3rd down and 9. Clock stops at 3:24 in the second quarter. The ball still placed at the Taft 47.5-yard line. Seems Shafter was a little more deliberate with their play call on this drive. Give the ball to Rhodes up the middle. Nice break. Here he goes. Nice cut to the outside. Rhodes is running down the side. One guy to beat, number 2. Drags him down. Right there, Blaine Newdorf just saved a touchdown run by Rhodes from Shafter.
Looks like Rhodes is going to have another big night tonight on the ground. He's probably already close to almost 100 yards already.
Yeah, that was a nice 36-yard pickup for a first down. It's first goal. They've got the ball is just inside the Taft 10. There's 3:13 in the second quarter. What a nice run by Rhodes. Espinoza in the backfield. Espinoza has the ball, keeps his feet moving, breaks one tackle, keeps his feet moving, breaking 2 tackles. Comes a flag on the play. Now, I don't know if I saw if it's going to be against Shafter or if I saw a face mask.
Face mask against Taft. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
A nice job running by 944 for Shafter. Chris Espinoza. The young man keeps his feet moving. Officials talking to this one out. Neither team's moving, so it's kind of like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's always a frustrating time when you have officials deliberating what's going to be called as a coach on the sideline. Well, was it us? Was it them? You know, and usually a good crew will communicate those calls to you. The line judge will communicate those calls to you on the sideline, which always gives you it gives you time to plan for what's the next steps, you know, especially if it's against you.
By that time, we went against Taft. You called it there, Jackson. It was a face mask. Moves the ball closer to the goal line. 1st and goal. The ball is just outside the 5-yard line, looks like. No, I take that back. The ball at about the 3 or 4-yard line, inside the 5-yard line. Okay, they're having to reset the clock to 2:49. So there's 2:49 in the second quarter. The ball at the Taft 4-yard line, 2nd and goal. Rhodes in the backfield with Osborne. They give us to Rhodes up the left side. He's close. Looks like, yes, they kick on Rhodes.
Good job by Osborne there, too. It looks like he fumbled the snap at first, and he recovered and got the ball to Rhodes.
That was a good drive by Shafter. They moved the ball down the field after a good stop defensively, score. They're waiting for the ensuing point after.
Yeah, especially after being in a 2nd and 20 situation, you know, loss of yards on the penalty and able to come back from it. That's always a plus when you can move the ball at will in bad situations.
Yeah, Rhodes and Espinoza are doing a fine job running for the Generals. The offensive line seems to moving the ball, moving the line. Nice hold by Espinoza. The kick is up. It's good with 2:39 in the second quarter. Shafter on top of the Taft Wildcats here at homecoming, 21-9.
I think Shafter still has 2 timeouts, too. So if they get a stop here, they'll have a chance to get the ball back and score before half. And going back to the coin toss, they get the ball at halftime, too. So that could be huge.
Well, the last 2 times Shafter's kicked off, they have been off sides, and it's come back to kind of bite him a little bit. So let's hope this time they can not jump off sides on the kickoff and keep Taft pinned down a little bit.
Yeah, I would just if I'm the special teams coordinator, I'm just going to tell my guys to let the kicker get an extra step before we all take off. And usually when you see it happen twice, that it might be a error across the board that they need to adjust to.
We've been told number 4 is Brian Rodriguez, and he's deep to receive the kick. And again, makes him run to the ball. He picks it up off the ground there at about the 10-yard line at the right side and pushed out of bounds by number 9 for Shafter. That was a little bit better.
That was another really good kick, too. Took a good general's bounce.
That's Jonathan Escobedo.
Yeah, so we're coming up through a 2-minute situation. So Taft has 2 timeouts. So look for some passes moving down the field. They might try and run just to get the play going, but I expect them to air it out.
It's back to pass, a quick out. The ball's intended for Rodriguez, and it falls incomplete.
Yeah, passing can go 2 ways for Taft. You can get down the field and you get a big play, or it's going to keep more time on the clock for the Generals.
Moore's completion over the course of the first 4 or 5 games hasn't been that high, but he's shown that he can throw the ball and puts the ball up and can get it down the field. In the backfield with him right now is Julian Woodards. He's back to pass across the middle. Has a man. Ball is incomplete. Number 8 on the coverage was Luciano Bernias. That's one of the flag.
Yeah, this might be a situation where you just run the ball here. You're going to force Shafter to either use a timeout or you're going to run, 35 to 40 seconds off the clock. Shafter's offense has been moving the ball well, and so you really have to think about, them getting the ball midfield and being able to drive down and score again before the half.
Morgan looking to pass. A little bit of pressure across the middle. Has receiver. Pass interference against Shafter. Bernias was on the coverage.
Yeah, that's always frustrating from a defensive perspective. Got him at 10, and then you get a pass interference. Now you give him a new set of downs. Obviously, Taft is going to continue to throw the ball as they move down the field here with their 2 timeouts. So they're probably going to try to throw the ball and try and hit the perimeter, use the sideline to stop the clock and save those timeouts as they cross the 50.
Cover here with Newdorf by himself here down at the bottom at the screen. They don't want to try and go for him long because they've done it before. Looking at a little screen. There's that screen. Falls incomplete. The ball was intended for number 11, Woodards. Brings up 2nd and 10. Stops the clock. 2:16 to go in the second quarter.
That was pretty smart by Shafter. Shafter was doubling him. Looked like a little bra coverage on Woodard, their best receiver. And that's always a smart thing to do in a situation like this, is find their best player and try and lock them down.
Again, you have Newdorf here, wide to the left. Across the middle again. This ball nearly intercepted. This time was The ball was behind Rodriguez, and 8 Bernias nearly intercepted it.
I think if I'm Taft, I'm just running the football from here on out. They've hadn't had any success really, just the penalty on this drive, and they've had more success moving the running the ball. So.
Well, it brings up 3rd and 10. The ball's at the Taft 38-yard line. 2:12 in the second quarter. Rodriguez here by himself, split down here at the bottom. Gaylord in motion. Throwing across the middle. The ball is caught by Rodriguez. Has a nice catch. Taft has shown to exploit Shafter's defense. They've been attacking that post across the middle. A pickup of about 19 yards.
Yeah, so what they're doing, Shafter's just playing man coverage, and then they're running crossing routes. They're pulling the inside receiver out and creating more space inside for the outside receiver. And that's how they're able to hit him on those post routes.
144, Taft 1st and 10. Osborne back to pass. This time under pressure, gets the ball away. The ball's high up. Broken up, nearly intercepted by number 2 for Shafter, the freshman Marion Sloan. It was intended for number 2 for Taft, Blaine Newdorf.
Newdorf did a good job there just batting the ball down. When you know it could be an interception, the best thing to do is just bat it down.
Yeah, number 24, Rafi Roman Amador, put a lot of pressure on Osborne, the quarterback. Brings up 2nd and 10. The ball is at the Shafter 38-yard line. 1:33 to go here in the first half. Four receivers out. Again, Osborne looking at, Moore back to pass. Ball's broken up nicely that time by number 8 for Shafter, Bernias.
He's the one that had that pass interference penalty as well, so he bounced back well from that, which is a good sign.
There's a flag on the play. It was away from the play, but where it's thrown, you just don't know if it's going to be maybe a hold, defensive hold. That's what it is, defensive holding, away from the play. Frustrating. Like you were saying, Jackson, other than that one nice catch, Taft's best play has been the penalties against Shafter in this drive.
It's really hurt Shafter this drive. If I'm Taft, if I'm throwing the ball, I'm either going to number 2 or number 4. Those are the best playmakers.
1st and 10, 1:29 to go. The ball's at the Shafter 27-yard line. This time they give it to Gaylord off the right side. Hit initially by number 7, Figueroa. But not before Gaylord picks up a nice 6-7 yards. Finally brought down by J.J. Vasquez, number 22. Now Taft seems to be picking up their momentum a little bit. 2nd and the long 3. Again, to give the Gaylord off the right side again. Out there by number 56. Brought him down very, very hard. For Shafter, that was Joel Gutierrez. Taft calls their last timeout. No, they have one timeout left.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation. We're looking at a 3rd down, about 5 yards, right? Really haven't had a lot of success throwing the ball. Shafter's been doing a good job stopping the run. And so as offense coordinator, you're looking at this situation. What do we do? Do we try and run it again? If we don't get out of bounds, we have to burn another timeout, which leaves us in a critical situation if we do get down the field further. Then you look they'll have to call to kick the field goal. So there's a lot of potential, issues with the call here.
It'll be interesting. There's 55 seconds to go in the half. The ball is at the Shafter 20-yard line. It's 3rd and 4.
Probably going to go back to that fly sweep.
They've got
Try and get to the boundary, get out of bounds.
They've got Gaylord here in the slot to the left, and it's Kozlowski there in the backfield with Jace Moore, the quarterback. Moore back to pass, looks across the middle. Broken up by J.J. Vasquez. There was a flag on the play, and I'm going to guess they're going to call pass interference against Shafter.
Yeah, just another one. Taft's really best player right now. Is going to be the calls by the officials.
The PI?
Yeah, the referees are making it known that they're in this game too. I don't agree with that call. I think you got to let the kids play.
That was tough. You don't like second calling, but good effort by Vasquez. Unfortunate, but it, again, brings up a first down for Taft. There's 50 seconds to go in the half. The ball is about the 10-yard line, 9-yard line. First and goal for Taft. Give the ball to Gaylor at the right side. Hit initially, again, by Figueroa, and there's Roman Amador, along with Seha, bringing him down. A very short gain, if any gain at all. The clock is moving, 33 seconds. They gave him no gain. The ball still at the 9-yard line, second and goal.
Yeah, I'd look to him to run here to our left.
Here it comes, Kozlowski. What a nice hit right there. Number 55. After, again, Roman Amador, number 55 for Shafter just laid the wood. Parker Valderrama.
What they're probably trying to do is get the ball back in between the hashes to give their kicker an easier shot. You know, oftentimes if you have a right-footed kicker and he's kicking from their own right hash, that's a hard swing for him. So they might, with 16 seconds left on the clock, they might probably just take a shot. You know, they look to number 2, back pylon. If they don't get it, they'll bring their kick team out and try and get 3 on the board before the half.
You got Neudorf in the game, number 2. He's a big, tall, lanky receiver. Has done very well tonight. You got Kozlowski in the backfield. Yeah, both Neudorf and Rodriguez, I hear the left, in a tandem.
They might try a crossing route with those two best athletes. Shafter might get mixed up in the mix. They might hit Nadorf down the middle, or even number 4 on that fade route, crossing route.
Yeah, it's usually a situation where you really do not want to play man coverage. You know, the ball's in the middle. They're going 3-by-1. They're going trips to the boundary. You don't have a lot of space, and with man coverage, you'll start to see, like you said, crossing routes where players will get picked off, and then you'll have wide open receivers running across the middle of the field, which is an easy shot for the quarterback.
Well, Shafter called a timeout. That leaves them with 1 timeout left. 16 seconds. It's 3rd and goal. The ball's at the Generals' 9-yard line. A stop by the Generals gives them momentum coming into the second half because they will be receiving the ball. If Taft can make something happen, they can come out second half with a little more fired up. Kozlowski's in the backfield with Moore. Like they have 3 receivers to the right. Tight end by himself over here on the left side. What a nice job by Figueroa. That was very good coverage and by the Generals. Nice stop with 8 seconds, 7 seconds.
I don't see why Taft tried to flip the receivers to the short side of the field on that.
There seemed to be a mix-up out there.
I'm going to give him 1 more second on the clock. So
1 second, and Shafter should get the ball with 1 second. Looks like, because that was 4th down when they spiked the ball.
That's a bad job about Taft not knowing what down you are on.
What do you do with Shafter? Do you run it or do you throw the ball?
Oh, you just take a knee. You just take a knee.
Yeah.
There's no point, with 1 second on the clock unless you could almost guarantee, you get down the field. But, even if it's a running play and you can break it, that's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah,
Right.
I would take a knee too. If you're going to run a play, I would just give it to Rhodes up the middle and just see what he can do with the ball.
Nice stop by the Generals. They take over 1st and 10 at their 11-yard line. 1 second. Rhodes is in the backfield. Waiting towards the football. Okay, here we go. The ball is caught by number 22, J.J. Vasquez, still on his feet, but brought down just short of midfield, but that ends the first half. It's a nice 37-yard pickup, tackled by number 2, Blaine Newdorf, and he comes up a little. He maybe just got the air knocked out of him. So here we are at halftime with the score, Shafter 21, Taft 9. Right now we have coming in a little interview with our principal, Mr. Russell Shipley, and then we'll get into the halftime festivities.
Thank you, Shafter General Cheerleaders.
Also, so this was your first teaching
Yeah,
assignment.
oh yeah, my first one. Charlie Rikosh brought me on to the staff, and I just graduated with my undergraduate in chemistry and was in a credentialing program and interviewed, and it was 2 weeks before the start of school, and brought me in, and the rest is history. That was my goodness, 26 years ago.
And you taught here until 2000, the 2006 5-6 school year.
Yeah, good memory. Yeah, it was a 5-6 school year, and then that was when the Frontier High School was being built and opened, and presented the opportunity to go help open a new campus, and that's an experience that's pretty cool to take in. And we start an actual high school campus from the ground up, and so did that in 2007, and then soon thereafter I finally made the decision to go full-time in admin, and was there for a little bit there and then went out to North High. I was a principal instruction there, got promoted again in director of business at Kern High, and then 2014 got to come home. It was a true blessing. Answered prayers for sure. So,
Did you ever? When it's my loaded question, not trying to be here, but did you ever really think that once you got to admin, that you wanted to come back to Shafter?
always. Anybody asked, his position came available, and They said, hey, Russ, you want to be principal someday. And I said, yeah. I said, if it's up to the Lord and the board, we'll see what the future holds. And they always ask, everybody always wants to know, hey, where do I go? And I always said, I want to go back home. I want to go to Shafter. I really, really want Shafter. And if that's not in my future, my path, then we'll see where we go next.
That's good. All right, tonight's not only homecoming, but also the official grand opening and the remodeled stadium. Did you ever think, was this project ever going to end?
Where do we begin? I thought about this kind of getting ready for tonight. It's interesting. A little bit of trivia. This stadium was actually slated to be modernized, rebuilt, remodeled, whatever you want to call it, back in 2009, 10, 10, 11. It was actually on master books for a full remodel back then. When people wonder, well, why didn't it happen back then? It's interesting. I'll actually say I'm glad it didn't. Because at the time, if you remember, we were in like the pit of the recession. The market had fallen out. We may remember what happened with the real estate boom and then the real estate burst.
Right.
And education in California was affected as well. Funding was dropping. We're seeing cuts right and left. And there was a time where a lot of those projects just simply had to be tabled, just because of funding and construction costs and pushed out. What's interesting, though, is the original layout was nothing but, there was no all-weather, there was no terracotta, irrigation, sod, even down to the goalpost. That wasn't even included in it. It was pretty much just new bleachers. I don't know if lights were part of that original spec. It might have been, but the original spec, I think, was only like 1.6, 1.7 million. And these bleachers alone, I think, from what I saw, were about 2 or 3 million just for the bleachers alone in today's market. Wow. So, yeah, but there was no all-weather track. There wasn't an idea for a second concession. It was pretty much through, drop the home and visitor bleachers, and bring it up to modern spec, modern code, and ADA compliant, and that was it. So I'm very, very thankful that, looking back, we didn't. So.
Well, but there's that old saying, good things happen to those that wait, and I'm glad that that for us it worked out. This whole project, the bleachers, the track, the scoreboard, the press box, what do you think is the best feature of the remodel?
Where do we begin?
Okay.
It's hard. I got to give credit. I mean, first, obviously, the gem of the field, being the scoreboard. And I got to just give credit to this local community, a lot of our local businesses, a lot of the hard work the coach Prudy and his faculty put together, just a lot of just financial support and donations. And that board would not have happened if it wasn't for that, because we would have gotten simply just what they call a standard spec. And a standard spec means if you go to, I think Highland just got one. They just finished Foothills Stadium. Basically, a standard spec board is about $90,000 to $110,000, and it's pretty much just lights, just kind of similar to what we had before, but just newer. And they would have the standard spec sound. In other words, you would have seen just the speakers mounted on the poles. You would have had just a very simple sort of just PA type system. That standard spec is about $75,000 to $90,000 just for the standard speaker setup. And so I think we start there first. I mean, once all said and done, many people don't believe it. They think we're exaggerating on money, but that board alone, just the board, was about $250,000. It was about extra contractor cost because we had to drop the pylons deeper for the wind shear and the strings and code. So groundwork, conduit, all the extra stuff just to prep it. I think that was six figures. I want to say it was about $125,000, $150,000, and then we added the sound. So the standard sound spec, I think originally was bid out at $75,000, and the sound that we have up there now, I think pushed, I want to say $225,000, $219,000. So it's all said and done, it's about $500,000 just in that scoreboard alone, and it's the pride of the county. There's no other campus around that has that. That has the replay options. It talks back to our video production lab. We literally have kids right now out there in the video production lab running the video stream, live stream. They're controlling the replays, they're controlling camera point of angle. In addition to everything's happening right now in the press box. That's also the only board or the only stadium around that actually not only has cat shadow drops at every single point, whether it be the scoreboard, the press box, ticket booth. We even have fiber pulled back and forth just for speed. So it's that's kind of, I'm always thinking about the business end of it. And I think we're getting closer in an era now where we need to see more and more of some of the credit cards, debit cards, especially now with how you buy tickets to get to the game.
Juniors class of 2024.
Switching gears, I think the other pride is just simply just a 9-lane all-weather synthetic track. I mean, that in and by itself, I remember when back in 2016, 17, 17, 18, just ramping up again to get ready for the stadium. We weren't slated to get an all-weather track. It was just, we're going to grade it out, and it was going to be simply just dirt, sand, or whatever we brought in to grade it, and we're going to call it. And, matter of fact, bit of trivia, most don't realize even the sod, the grass, the irrigation, all the valve blocks, the tie-in to the water well out back, none of that was included, even the newer spec. But that was just a continued support that we get with Kern High and relationships we have with our superintendency and board, and so then there was a couple other schools around that got the synthetic all-weather. And hold on, I think we got a bit of a technical difficulty.
Yeah, looks like we are. Sorry about that, folks. We had some. I guess we're having some technical difficulty. They're trying to get it worked out. It just we were talking about all the high tech, but the one thing that I think is really neat, and I've always respected and admired about you, and I jokingly sometimes call you the blue-collar principal, because people have their hobbies. Yours is with a cutting torch and a welder, and you like to do that, and because you thoroughly understand what it takes to put a big conglomerate project together, and you, like you just mentioned, we have to step up to the 21st century. You encourage the different electives on campus, one being this video production, where these kids right now, even though we're having maybe some glitches, these kids are running all of this. And again, that's, to me, that's a credit to what you bring to the high, is recognizing what the future can hold for our students, and it all ties into what you're talking about, the nicer attributes of this remodel.
Yeah, it was interesting conversations, because when you really sit down with the architects, or even I would come out here and talk to a lot of the subs and the contractor. I'm not trying to micromanage or try to get in the middle of what they do and just rip it at it. I think a lot of it just came straight from the drawings. There was a time that we were once I finally got the all-weather track approved and funded. I know one time it was only going to be a 7-lane track, and they said that simply just because spec design and the engineer drawings, and I was like, no. And it came down to simply just a redesign of the home side so we could get a better footprint. So that's why you see some of it's kind of spread out, and you see some of the, what I call the 4-foot interfence. So it's obviously a little bit different logistically, and kind of the feel of kind of what we remember the Shafter High campus or the stadium looking like and feeling, but there were some things that we needed to do to get a full 9-lane. The other is interesting, and to your comment in the beginning of a lot of this, I too was wondering, is this ever going to get done? And some of it was just like a project this size. I call it like this isn't going to work. And it wasn't until we set the visitor side, and where you see that one ADA compliant ramp where that one light pole is. For those of us who know that stadium, that used to be the old pole vault.
Right.
And there's no way we're going to run down by the side of that ramp, in between the ramp and the pole, carrying a pole vault pole. No. And so that, interesting, that little hiccup there, none of us really looked at, even though it was on the drawing, we looked at everything. Didn't catch it, because we were thinking more big press box, concessions, plumbing, tying, and fiber. And then, long story short, that's why what I call the north cap, that end zone right behind the goalpost, that's why that's all full synthetic. Because we had to move that, and we copied it into the campus where that's why at the very end we came in later with just doing a full synthetic there. So that's where you'll see the high jump wall will be all down there. So if you need anything to add a state, we have the full synthetic turf, maybe the Tafts or the Kennedys, a few others, it mimics that. And so you'll see all that down there. But that was kind of a last minute. That alone, interestingly enough, I saw the bid spec on it, but about $250,000 just to do that north cap right there in synthetic.
It's just crazy. I coached track at Bickerson College many years ago, and just to do the whole track was $250,000. But, costs go up. Yeah, it's easy if you're not in the mix to make the critical observations,
right?
And when you deal with a public fund, government-funded projects,
hey, don't forget
and I know that you know this because you do a lot of stuff on the side. It adds costs, it adds time, and it adds headaches. But thankfully, it got done.
I think interesting. I think a lot of people saw that go stagnant for a good 4 or 5 months. And that's when they did the base. That right after the aggregate went down, they did the asphalt, and there were some just hiccups. Not pointing fingers at anybody, but it wasn't pitched right. It wasn't graded right. And if you take a hard look at the stadium, all around the inner where the grass meets the synthetic, that's your main drain. And there were some pitching issues there. So, like I said in one of the newsletters I sent home, it's it would have been good enough. We could have left it, but no, it needs to. Let's make it great. Let's make it what this community, what this campus deserves.
Well, I think they're going to get ready to announce the homecoming king and queen.
Right on.
And so, I'll tell you what, I want to thank you not only for being here tonight. Sincere thank you for what you do for this campus, our kids, and the community.
I love them dearly.
It's not always easy to wear all many hats that you do, but it's greatly appreciated.
No, it's what
Russell
we do.
Shipley.
All right.
I appreciate it, Shafter High School. Thank you,
thank
sir,
you
very much.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay. Here's our homecoming court. Our first #1 couple, Teo Avila. Parents are Anna Cardenas. He likes to be the life of the party. He enjoys socializing with anyone and everyone. He loves all music except country. And he likes to be behind the camera. He also likes the attention of the camera. Teo Avila, our homecoming king contestant. Queen contestant, Serenity Anglillo, also known as Rin. Parents, Amanda and Orlando. She loves music, hanging with friends and family, and reading. She likes to play travel softball. Her future plans are to become a marine biologist. She also loves her dog, Coda. Our second couple, Tomas Gutierrez. Parents, Isis Soto and Felipe Gutierrez. He's a diehard Raider fan. He enjoys watching football. Plans on being an electrician. I like the sound of that. Once he graduates, he loves his high school and General Nation. Let's ride. His queen candidate, Kiara Garcia. Parents' names are Irma Cortez and Victor Garcia. Sure, she's the ASB vice president and a softball player. She plans on attending CSUB after high school and is currently attending CTEC. She's in the nursing program. She wants to take her nursing career further and one day become Dr. Garcia. Third couple, number 11, Koa Rhodes. Parents, Lorana Rhodes and Jonathan. He loves music, surfing, track, and football. His plan after high school is to attend college for track and field somewhere. With him is Ariana Carmarina. Her parents, Rodrigo and Gladys. She loves meeting new people, friendly, energetic. She's always has a big smile. One of her favorite hobbies is doing floral arrangements. She wants to travel to Europe. She's involved in the FFA, and she does the weather in HQTV. Our fourth couple, Joseph Montemeyer Jr. Parents, Joseph Montemeyer and Jessica Law. He loves being involved and showing school spirit. In the future, he wants to travel the world and photograph everything he sees. With him is Jocelyn Hermosillo. Parents, Marta and Ephraim. She does cheer, she's on the ASB, she does FFA, she wants to be an RN. Our fifth couple tonight, Adrian Arredondo. Parents Rachel Zermino and Adrian Arredondo. He enjoys spending time with friends and going out and eating at Cane's. Queen candidate, Michaela Patton. Michael Patton and Petra Gomez are her parents. Her hobbies are singing, dancing, coaching youth cheer. Her school activities are cheer and color guard. In the future, she plans to go to the West Coast University and become a pediatrician. Those are your candidate groups. Chapter. Okay, so our homecoming king this year, Teo Avila. Our homecoming queen, Serenity Angulo. Good job, everybody. You guys look great.
Okay, I think we're back on. We're getting ready to start the second half. Shafter up 21-9. What do you expect second half?
For me, I would just expect Shafter to come out this first drive running the football with Rhodes again. I think it worked the first drive. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I think they might try a little bit more screens. They had some success early, but they just really didn't need to throw them. So just see a lot more of the ball on the ground for the Generals.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, I mean, they've done a pretty good job in the second quarter making adjustments. You know, one thing Taft did is they went down to a four-man front with a 4-3 box, you know, with three linebackers to kind of stop the run, which opens up holes on the back end. So if that's something Shafter saw, they might try and throw the ball. as well. And then from Taft's perspective, they just got to keep running the ball. You really look at the last drive, it was a drive that was just loaded with penalties that allowed Taft to move down the field, but they really didn't have a lot of success throwing it. So they're probably just going to continue to try and run the ball, which is a good thing for Shafter, because if they can stop the run and force them to do something that they're not very good at night, then it kind of plays into their hands.
Well, here we go. Shafter gets the ball to start the second half. Looks like we have J.J. Vasquez and Marion Sloan deep to receive for the Generals.
And if Shafter could score on this first drive of the second half, it makes it a 3-possession game, and that might force Taft to have to throw the ball. They might not have no other option.
As always with high school football, lots of questions to be answered, and I think they'll be answered here pretty soon, maybe on this first possession. You know that Taft wants to be the homecoming spoiler, down 21-9. Here we go, start of the second half. High kick. Vasquez has it coming up the middle. Around to the right side, looking for a block. Slips and is hit by number 3 for Taft. After a modest return, the ball is placed just the nose of the football is at the Shafter 30-yard line. They will take over 1st and 10. Tackles by Cash Clark for Taft.
That's a name right there.
That is his name.
First team all name. Koa Rhodes is in the backfield along with Osborne as we begin the second half of play.
I think Shafter comes out the inside zone to start things off.
Here you go. Those Rhodes at the middle. Hit immediately by Taft. Number 18 for Taft. That's Zachary Wheeler. No gain. Second and 10. The ball's intercepted by number 4 at the Shafter 45-yard line. Intended for Figueroa, still on his feet. There's a flag on the play. Looks like Figueroa might be open, but a nice job there by number 4 for Taft. That's Richard Jennings. That young man is everywhere. Return. Go ahead.
So we talked about Osborne putting the ball more in a line. While on that one, you kind of want to put more air on it. I believe Figueroa had his man beat, and if he just put a little bit more air on that and got it over the defender, that could go for a touchdown for the Generals. It was just a little bit underthrown.
Yeah, he's been putting, like you said, we've been pointing out that he's been putting a little too much air on his shorter throws, and then when it's time to put air on it, he puts it on a line drive to the receiver, and so that's just the mistakes a freshman quarterback's going to make. Learning how to put different touches and different spins on the ball. So, as he gets older, he'll learn how to those throws based on the depth and the type of routes that he's getting down the field.
Had a dead ball and sportsmanlike conduct against the Generals. And again, there's that favorite play for Taft, the penalty. And it moves the ball deep inside the Generals' territory. It's 1st and 10. Looks like the ball is going to be spotted at about the Shafter 22, 23-yard line. Give the Gaylord around the right side, cuts it up. Hard tackle, number 56 for Shafter right there. That's Joel Gutierrez. Held Gaylord to a modest gain of maybe a half a yard. second and 9.5, second and 10. Joe Real is in the backfield now for the Wildcats. This time they give the ball to number 25, Zolowski, up straight up the middle. Brought down by number 3.
If you're Shafter, you got to get your pad level lower when you're going to tackle Kozlowski. He's too big and too powerful to try to go above the shoulders on him.
Gary on the spot on the tackle. They give him a spot of about 7-yard gain, 3rd and 3. The ball there is just around the Shafter 15-yard line. Third quarter just underway, 9:50. Give the ball to Gaylor to get out that right side, try and get to the edge, and he does. Looks like he might have slipped forward enough for the first down. Tackled by number 7 for Shafter, Jesus Figueroa. And they do give him a spot for a first down, 1st and 10 for Taft. The ball at the Shafter 13-yard line. Kozlowski and Gaylord in the backfield for the Wildcats. To give the Gaylord off the right side, cuts back. Still keeps his feet moving. Nice run. Brought down to 24, Rafi Roman Amador, but not before a pickup of about 7 yards. To give him a 6-yard pickup, 2nd and 4. Taft can get a first down here on this drive. Need to get the ball down inside the 5-yard line for a first down. Ball's given to Kozlowski off the left side. Plows his way down. Looks like he might have enough for a first down. The ball is inside the 3. Should bring up 1st and goal for the Wildcats.
Shafter defense looks to be confused all the way across the board. They had a receiver out for Taft, and the DB didn't go get him. It looks like they're just having trouble really lining up right now.
Give the Gaylor to the right side, cuts back up the middle. Hit head on by the Generals. I don't think he got in. Nice job there by number 24, Roman Amador, number 56 for the Generals. Joe Gutierrez stops Gaylord for no gain. 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line. 8:15 and counting here in the 3rd quarter. Gives Kozlowski up the middle. He's in for a touchdown. Just like that, we get a check that. The quarterback scored on the touchdown. That's Jace Moore. So just like that, Taft gets the interception, marches down, scores a touchdown. And it's just basically could be a 14-point turnabout.
Yeah, the turnovers just really kill you. You know, you always want to be plus in the turnover margin. You know, and so it's never a good thing when you turn the ball over on offense and then the opposing team takes advantage of it and can score on a sudden change on your defense on a change. Especially right off the half, that really can foam them. But Shafter's really have to adjust. I thought they would adjust, to the Taft's run game. They're running it off the tight end side every time. I thought a halftime adjustment, they would adjust their front to maybe slide over to the tight end side or 85. But when they go wide, they run inside, they run outside. So it's just, again, it's back to that chess match in the run game between Taft's offense and Shafter's defense, but they're really going to have to adjust to that, or Taft's going to be able to move the ball willingly moving forward.
Yeah, it's too bad. A lucky thing right there. The Taft missed the point after, so it's 21-15. Shafter ahead, and Taft kicking off again, and you could say that turnover made a big difference. I mean, without a doubt, it's now a single score game.
Especially because that play for Shafter, that was an interception. It had a chance to be a big-time play if there was just a little bit more air on that ball.
Cole Rhodes is back deep, along with J.J. Vasquez. Okay, that looked awkward. It looked like J.J. letting the ball bounce around, and I don't know if he recognized that ball was live, and then he got hit.
He's got to jump on that. He's got to pick it up. He's got to either jump on it, cradle the ball, or he's got to pick it up and step out of bounds. There's no need to play the what-if game or the what-if scenario in that situation because, again, if you mistouch that ball and Taft recovers it, that'll put yourself in a really bad situation.
They called targeting against Taft.
That's another call I don't really understand. I think that Vasquez just picked up the ball right before the guy that hit him got there. So I don't agree with that call. I think it was a clean play by Taft.
Now, it's obvious that the coaching staff on the opposite side of the field not very happy. Shafter has the ball in 10 at the 26-yard line. Give to Rose off the right side, cuts up. Follows blockers, but nice job by Taft defense. 5-yard gain, but tackle was number 5 for Taft. That's Skylar Sutherland.
Taft's defensive line has come out a lot more physical this half of football than the first.
Give him a 4.5-yard gain. Call it second long 6. Again, give to Rose. They blow the whistle. There's going to be a procedure against Shafter. It looks like the Generals are trying to pick up their tempo, but not everybody's on the same page. That'll be a 5-yard mark off, replace second down. The ball is going to be placed about the Shafter 26-yard line, second and 10.5. He goes up the right side again. This time he's met head-on, number 85 again, was there waiting for him. Nice tackle by Sutherland.
Sutherland is a good player on both sides of the ball for Taft. Like I talked about earlier, he's the tight end, and he's really leading the way for the running backs. And on the defense side of the ball, he's in on a lot of tackles as well.
Yeah, he's tall and rangy. He is doing a very nice job. Gain of about 2.5, so third and 8.5 to go for the Generals.
I think we see screen pass here.
Quick, once again, right through J.J. Vasquez's hand. There's some confusion. It looked like, from my vantage point, that it was a forward pass. I don't know if the whistle was blown and couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, it's tough to tell. That's going to be the line judge's call. It really helps yourself with those type of plays when you're out of shotgun because it kind of changes the angle of that throw. That's the second time they try to run that play, and the Shafter offensive players dropped the ball.
Yeah, that was pretty good heads-up play by Taft to pick the ball up until the whistle was blown. 4th and 8. Guerrero's back to kick for Shafter. Deep for Taft is Jennings. Nice high wobbly spiral. Jennings is late with the fair catch, but he gets a fair catch. The ball is at about the Taft 36-yard line. It's about a 34, 35-yard punt with no return. Taft will take over 1st and 10 with 6:28 in the third quarter. Shafter 21, Taft 15.
That's a good job by Shafter's punt team right there, too. I think Taft had about 8 people on the line going for the block, and they did a really good job there.
Moore still in at quarterback. Looks like he has Kozlowski and Garrett in the backfield. They gave this to Gaylor off the right side again, trying to get to the edge, and he does. He gets outside the second level, brought down by number 22, J.J. Vasquez, but not before he gets a gain of about 7-8 yards, depending upon the spot.
Yeah, they keep running that outside zone play with the lead blocker, and they're just getting a hat for hat. Shafter needs to have a defender come down in the box, is what we call a +1 fitter. He's the unblocked defender, and fill between Taft's players to make that tackle.
Second and long 2, ball at the 44-yard line. Ball at the middle to Kozlowski. He has enough yards for the first down. Nice little 5-6 yard pickup.
This quarter's remind me a lot of the first quarter Taft had. They're starting off, running the ball just strong up the middle.
You know, you wonder if that pick that they had is a momentum swinger where they can say, hey, we can come back out and we can, you know, we're still in this ball game. First and 10, the ball at the Taft 49-yard line. Ball given to Gaylord off the left side, met head on. Nice job by Shafter right there. 56 for Shafter was waiting, did not get fooled. Joel Gutierrez help with number 3, Alex Aguirre, thrown for a loss. Give him a loss of 4. The ball's back to the Taft 46.5 line. Loss of 3. Second and 12.5. Second and 13. Newdorf is split wide to the right up on top of the screen. Kozlowski's alone in the backfield. Back to pass, looking down the field. Nice defensive coverage there by number 2 for Shafter. That was a good job by the freshman, Marion Sloan.
Yeah, he was in the exact same position as he was in the first deep ball in the first quarter. You know, going back to it, we call that lead position, where the defensive back is stacking the shoulder of the wide receiver, and he turns back for the ball and he shields him and make on it. Best position to be in as a defensive back.
There was a lot of airtime. He did a good job, and this time no penalty. 3rd and 13. Ball to Shafter 40, Taft 47, excuse me. Moore's back to pass again across the middle. Has receiver broken up very nicely. What a nice job again by the freshman.
Being on an island like that as a freshman, it's really good to see that he's had really good coverage all night long. Even though we haven't seen him get the ball on the offensive side of the ball, he's making his presence known on the defensive side.
And like you said, it's pretty incredible that a freshman can come up to the varsity at that age and make plays like he's made all night.
Yeah, good athlete, and from what I understand, great kid in the classroom. Punt along the way. Sloan might get a return. He does. Starts at about the 15. Cuts outside. Hesitation. Nice job up his right sideline. Looking for a block. He has a block. Keep his feet moving before he's run out of bounds. It's a late hit in the sideline. Okay, there's a couple kind of nice things there. We had a nice return, about 45 yards by the freshman Marion Sloan. Then we have a late flag. I think it's going to go against Taft for a late hit and unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, it's going to be number 54 for Taft. He was coming up behind a Shafter player and took a shot on him on the sideline, which you can never do in that situation.
We've got an injured Taft player in the sideline.
So that's a big stop for Shafter right there. You know, you get Taft swings it back off the half and was able to score, and then they 3-and-out Shafter's offense, and then Shafter's defense answered the call, and then with a big return right there, now you're getting a little bit of momentum, a little bit of juice and confidence, and if they can get a touchdown out of this drive, it's going to be a big swing for them.
Injured player number 74, Brendan Gratt. Looks like he has a lower leg injury. Fortunately, he's able to get up, being assisted off the field. Let's hope it's nothing serious, that the young man can get back and play as soon as he is able to.
Yeah, and Brendan's brother actually plays for us, and he's a great kid. He's going to be a good player.
Well, he's a good-sized boy right there. They have him listed at 6 foot, 215. Okay, Shafter takes over 1st and 10 at the Taft 23 after the nice kickoff or punt return by Sloan and the 15-yard penalty for the unsportsmanlike conduct. We have Rhodes in the backfield along with Osborne. Ball to Taft 20. Quick pitch out to Rhodes with a nice move inside. Good block. Yeah, he did a good job using his blockers.
Well, he really just made something out of nothing there.
Yeah, yeah. Number had a good block on the defensive end, and then he started just slipping and sliding and moving his feet. A pickup of 9.5 yards to be 2nd and 1. The ball at the Taft 13. Time little boot action. Ball complete, number 3 for Shafter. That was a nice little boot action. That's number 3, Alex Aguirre.
Yeah, and Osborne should have threw it to him right when he got around. You know, usually off bootleg, your first read's going to be your first level defender. If he's open, get rid of the ball and let him run. If he would have got rid of it, they probably would have been celebrating right now.
Well, let's hope they celebrate in this next play. 1st and goal at the 1. To give us Rhodes off the left side. Cuts inside. Looks like we have a touchdown, Shafter, and it is. What a nice job by Cole Rhodes. Now they can celebrate their coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Osborne, too, if I had to tell him anything, you don't want to take those hits as a quarterback. You don't need to. But it was a very good drive by the Generals.
Yeah, it gets down to, like you were talking about, Coach, a very nice stop defensively, especially when Taft didn't have the momentum. It's good to see the Generals drive down, get a touchdown. And here we have Guerrero ready for the point after attempt. Out of the hole of Espinoza. Kick is up, and it's through the uprights. So with 3:20 in the 3rd quarter, Shafter extends its lead 28, Taft 15.
Yeah, that was a much-needed score for Shafter there. That really evened out what happened at the beginning of half, and so we're right back to where we were before we came off the field for halftime. And Taft's got to answer here, and we'll see what they try and do. And they probably should back to their run game, their 2-back run game, and try and pound it and continue to push Shafter down the field.
One of the concerns early on from Coach Perucci was the depth of his squad. He has 5 or 6 linemen, but going what you're saying there, Coach, if Taft does indeed keep running, but we don't know what Taft's depth is like on their line as well, but it gets down to who in the trenches are in better condition to stop the other.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, the game's played by the players, coaches, so the Jimmies and Joes are the ones that make it go. You know, and running the ball is always effective, wearing guys down, and so that'd be a good strategy for Taft. The unfortunate thing is now the clock's not on your side as you continue to run the ball.
Rodriguez deep for Taft. A nice deep kick. Guerrero sends Rodriguez back to the 5-yard line and coming up the middle on the return. He gets it through the right through the middle of the Shafter defensive before he's being hauled down, but not before he has a 51-yard return.
It may be a bad day in the film room for the kickoff team for Shafter. They've struggled tonight. It just comes down to they got to stay in their lanes and they can't over-pursue. They got to break down at the point of contact and just break down the feet and just make a play.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing too is the players are running down the field hard, but they're not squeezing to the football. As short kicks, you're going to have to take your angles sooner after you avoid the first blocks, and they need to start doing that, or they're going to continue to get these big returns.
Gaylord on the sweep around this left side. He gets to the edge, ran out of bounds by Sloan, but not before he picks up about 6 yards.
You'd like to see Sloan get out there a little bit faster, and if he has to force him to cut back inside where the pursuit of Shafter's defense is coming.
Yeah, and that's a tough tackle for a young DB. You know, most experienced DBs have a hard time making that tackle. You know, coming from space, running that alley, he's just really got to run through the offensive players inside hip and just keep his feet going and not stop his feet.
2nd and 5 there at the Shafter 40-yard line. Ball given to Gaylord off the right side, back up the middle. Nice cut. Oh, what a hit. Initially hit by number 8 for Shafter. That was Luciano Bernias, but then to finish him off, Koa Rhodes came in and really laid his shoulder to him, but not before Gaylord picks up about 8 or 9 yards on the run. Good enough for a Taft first down. It's like you guys were saying, here's Taft coming back and moving the ball on the ground. And it's 1st and 10. The ball's at the Shafter 33-yard line. 2:40 in the third quarter. Number 11 for Taft has the ball up at that right side and cuts back before he's met by a wall of generals. That's Rossetti with the tackle. Number 11 was Julian Woodards. He doesn't run too much usually to give their other running backs a little rest. We haven't called Rossetti's name much tonight. The freshman is doing a good job. Perucci and his staff are very high on him. 3-yard gain by Woodards. It's 2nd and 7. The ball is right at the Shafter 30-yard line. The clock continues to move. 1:55 in the third quarter. Woodards is still in the backfield for Taft. Osborne rolling out, looking to pass. Throwing the ball deep. He has a man open. He caught the ball, but was he inbounds? Very nice reception. Cyrus Woodards, their main running back, looks like he's on the slot in the left and just came all the way across the field.
Yeah, and it's interesting why they attempted a sprint out with a lefty quarterback to the right. He has to turn his hips all the way around to throw the ball. It was a great play by Woodard.
1st and goal at the 6. The give is to number 11. Tries the right side. He short of the goal line. Oh, excuse me, number 22 for Taft. Gaylord.
Going back to that pass play for Taft, Shafter's got to start picking up on when they move that running back to the slot and they don't motion, they've been throwing every single time. So if you see that running back move to slot and there's no motion, think pass.
The ball is about the Shafter 3-yard line, 2nd and goal. 1 minute left in the third quarter. Kozlowski and Gaylord in the backfield. They give it to Kozlowski up the middle, and the big running back is hit, and he's short of the goal line. Nice job by number 56 for Shafter, Joel Gutierrez, and 75, Geronimo Ceja. 3rd and goal. The ball is just inside the 1-yard line, or at the 1-yard line of the Generals. 30 seconds in the third quarter. Looks like Kozlowski is walking out the field a little shaken up. Quarterback sneak, and he gets the push. Touchdown Taft. So with 18 seconds to go in the third quarter, Taft pushes the ball across the goal line. 28-21. And they'll try the point after. That drive looked almost too easy.
Yeah. They just went back to running the ball, and that's the struggle with heavy running teams. They lull you to sleep with 3-yard gains, 4-yard gains, 5-yard gains, and then when they get in a situation where they can waste it down, they're just going to drop back and they're going to chuck it deep and take a chance. And, that's what they did and got them down the field fast, which helps them save some time on the clock to get back in this game.
The kick is good. So with 18 seconds, Taft tightens the score. Shafter still on top, 28-22.
And then going back to Shafter special teams, they gave Taft the ball there on the 50-yard line, which allows them to keep running the football because they're going to waste as much time. Say that kick goes to the 25 or they get them down at the 25, it's just going to run more time off as they go down the field.
Yeah, they've had the last 3 kickoffs, they've had outstanding field position that shortens the field. And you're right, it really gives them more options, what they can do, and if they want to try, like Coach was saying, just grind the ball out, well, they've got a short field to work, and it doesn't work against them with the clock. Vasquez and looks like Sloan are deep for the Generals this time. I wonder if Taft will keep kicking to Vasquez. And they do. This time Vasquez gets it, and he fumbles the return, picks it up. There's a missed block there. He gets to the outside, still running, before he's brought down at about the 15-yard line. Number 18 for Taft was there on the tackle, Zachary Wheeler. Shafter takes over 1st and 10 at about the 15, 16-yard line, depending upon the spot. That was unfortunate because it looked like he had room to run, but just mishandled that kickoff.
Yeah, and you usually when you mishandle the kickoff, you just have to try and regain the yards you lost. And so you just need to get vertical upfield. Usually when you run wide, the pursuit is already caught up to you, and you're going to get caught every time.
Quick wobble screen, number 7 has the ball. Nice cut up inside. He's still on his feet. Jesus Figueroa looked like he needed one more block and might be able to get some extra yards, but still a nice gain.
Shafter's big boys can move too. They got out there pretty quick and had some nice blocks downfield.
Yeah, and as I stated earlier, when you run a perimeter screen and you release the offensive linemen as lead blockers, you have usually a high school 150-pound cornerback sitting out there, by himself, and that's a nightmare for him when he's got 300, 400 pounds running at him. It's a tough play to play, and it's a good call by Coach Perucci.
That play ended the third quarter. As we begin the fourth quarter, Shafter is on top 28-22. They'll have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 30-yard line. They switch, sides of the field. This time Shafter will be moving south to north away from the scoreboard. 1st and 10. We'll see what the Generals have up their sleeve. That quick screen like you've been talking about, a couple little drop passes might have made a big difference in terms of the offensive yardage for the Generals. But that's high school football. We have Osborne still at quarterback. Rhodes in the backfield. He gives it to Rhodes off the right side. Gets to the edge, keeps his feet moving, but a nice tackle by number 75 just got his feet on Rhodes. That was Garrett Brown. And Rhodes might have broke that for a big gain. He still gained a nice 6 yards. 5-yard gain, 2nd and 5. The ball is at the general 36 and a half yard line. It's like 44. Espinoza in the backfield for the Generals. They give this to Espinoza. Up the middle before he's brought down hard. Number 21 for Taft. Cameron Cash. There's your football name again, Coach. And number 11, Julian Woodard's on the stop. Up them to a 1 or 2 yard gain. Give him 2 yards. 3rd. Give him 2.5. 3rd and 2. The ball's just inside Shaft 40-yard line.
Oh.
Ball was intended for number 3. That was Alex Aguirre. Bounced off his hands and right into the hands of number 2, Blaine Newdorf.
See, on that right there, if you're a Shaft receiver, you got a young quarterback, you got to start helping him out. If I'm the receivers coach, just telling the guys, take a breath, just focus on looking the ball in and catch the football.
Tough break for the Generals. Very opportunistic of the Wildcats to get that turnover. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats at the Shafter 45-yard line. Newdorf, who made the interceptions down here at the right side, split out. Give the ball to number 22. He's been the workhorse tonight, Cyrus Gaylord. Brought down number 56 again, Gutierrez. He's doing a nice job tonight. Pickup of about 2.5 or 3. 2nd down. A long 8, short 7. They give him 2nd and 8. The ball at the Shafter 43-yard line. 10-10 left in the game. Gaylord's in the backfield. From back to pass. Man wide open. Nice catch there. Looks like it might be for a 1st down. That's number 4. Richard Rodriguez, tackled by Cole Rhodes. Good enough for a 1st down. The ball is spotted just inside the Shafter 35-yard line. Taft on the move here, 1st and 10. Got the 2-back look for offense. They gave us to, looks like that's Gaylord on the right-hand side. Still running the ball. Nice hard run. Number 3 on the tackle for Shafter, Alex Aguirre, not before Gaylord picks up a nice gain. They give him a spot of about 8-9 yards.
And Taft might take a shot here throwing the ball again. You got kind of a waist down. They might just build off that quarterback and try and throw here.
They've got both wide receivers split out. Newdorf wide up on top. The ball, number 11, bounces to the right, has his feet still moving, hit head on, but not before he gets the 1st down. Nice run. Rhodes on the tackle, but not before Julian Woodard's gains enough for a Taft 1st down and moving the ball down near the Shafter 20.
We talked about it earlier, the big guys up front for Shafter getting fatigued, and it's kind of starting to look like it. Everyone's hands are on their hips, and they just seem like they're getting worn out right now.
Got Woodard's and Gaylord in the backfield for the Wildcats. They give us a Gaylord. Nice hard run. Tackle by number 8 for Luciano Bernias. Looks like it's the old crossbuck.
Yeah, it's just counter with the misdirection. But, yeah, you're exactly right. You know, they're pulling both the guard and tackle around from the left side, and they're sending the back on the right side to block the backside, and then the back on the left side actually gets the ball and follows his leaders. It's, you know, really just called counter, a pretty popular play in the football world these days.
Here comes your pass. Osborne back to pass, thrown out deep. Has a receiver there. Caught looks like it could be a touchdown. It is. Touchdown for Taft. That's a nice thrown ball. And, again, there's Gaylord. Gaylord's been Taft's been very impressive. That was an impressive drive after a turnover by the Generals.
Yeah, they're just doing a good job of keeping Shafter guessing defensively. You know, the offense coordinator from Taft has definitely changed up his tendencies in the second half, you know, with passing mixed in on second down instead of running. I'm surprised Shafter hasn't tightened up their coverage a little bit, being that the quarterback, if you notice, if you're watching this game, the quarterback puts a lot of air on his balls, which is pursuit time. And so an easy fix would just be to tighten up the leverage and the alignment of your defensive backs to allow that pursuit time to be a little bit shorter, and they might be able to break up some passes moving forward. But they're in the driver's seat now, and so if Shafter doesn't get a score here, Taft's just going to continue to run the ball and try and run this game out.
Well, Taft did squeak that ball inside the uprights for the point after, and they take the lead for the first time tonight with 7:39 remaining in the game. Taft 29, Shafter 28. You know, we talked at the beginning of the game that Taft was run heavy, but they've shown that they can pass the ball when they need to, and they're making those big plays.
Well, the big thing they're doing, they're capitalizing off turnovers. I think Shafter started off with back-to-back turnovers in their first couple of possessions of this half, and it's just hurting them. They're kind of shooting themselves in their own foot.
Yeah, and like you said, Jackson, 14 of their points, Taft's points came off turnovers, you know, and so you take those away, you know, you can wipe those 14 points off the board, and those are, again, like you said, those are huge momentum swings for Taft against Shafter. And then now Taft, like I said earlier, is in the driver's seat. Now they have all the momentum, and then I believe they can win this game.
Okay, we have, again, Vasquez and Sloan deep to receive the kick. They kick it. This time Sloan has it at his own 15 and starting up the middle. There is a flag on the play. Sloan was tackled at about the 25. Looks like he was hit by number 73 and number 17 for Taft. That's Campos. Number 17, number 73 is Taylor J. White.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another holding call against Shafter on the far side of the field.
And just like Coach said earlier, I would like to see the Shafter returners get vertical now more. They're running horizontal, and it's allowing the Taft's kickoff team to get there in a hurry.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but tonight the Achilles heel for Shafter is a hold call against the Journal, back him up 10 yards. Their Achilles tonight has been they've have not covered as well, and their returns have been modest at best. Generals take over. 7:32 to go in the game. 1st and 10. The ball's at the Shafter 12-yard line, 17-yard line. Pass intended for J.J. Vasquez. Incomplete. Just outside of his reach. Second and 10. Give throws off the right side. Gets to the edge. Tripped up. Again, they're a fortunate job right there. Rhodes looked like he was just ready to shift gears, but that was Kozlowski, number 25, with a diving tackle that just tripped up Osborne, but not before he gained 7 yards. 3rd and 3.
I think if I'm Shafter, I just go to Rhodes here. Keep on feeding him the ball.
Well, that time Taft must have heard you, Jackson, because they're waiting for him. No gain. Try the left side. Tackle again. There's number 85, our little tight end there for Taft, Skylar Sutherland. It's 4-3. Do you punt the ball or do you go for it?
I think they'll just give them a freeze count here, and if they don't jump, they might call timeout and punt it.
Yeah, I'd probably be punting in this situation. But, Taft has all the momentum. They've been scoring willingly, so you got 6 minutes left. You might as well take a shot at it.
Those screens have been open. Maybe we'll try that again.
Here comes the screen out to the right side. Nice job. First down. Depends upon the spot. The ball was complete to it's Jesus Figueroa.
No way.
I think they're saying he stepped out.
There looks to be some confusion there. Looks like they're going to say that Figueroa stepped out of bounds. They're saying
yeah, that's a tough one right there.
you don't like to criticize the officiating crew, but this crew all night has been indecisive, but they say Taft ball.
Yeah,
Well, and they haven't done a very good job in communicating the situation of the calls to, both Taft and Shafter's sideline.
Get the Gaylor the right side. Tell you right now, Taft is their offensive line is getting a good surge. Gaylord's running hard. I think they begin to smell the blood in the water. It's a nice pickup on first down of about 5 yards. 6 yards. The ball is inside the Shafter 20.
You go back to Shafter's offense, too. They turned it over, and then they go 4 and out. So it just hurts you to have your defense on the field that long. They're going to – eventually something's going to give, and they're starting to get more tired and tired.
Number 11 right up the middle. That's Woodard's. He's met head on. Alex Aguirre on the stop. Maybe a short gain of about a half a yard. Third down. Ball's at the Shafter 18. There's 5 minutes to go in the game. This is a big play for Shafter's defense. They need a stop here. Woodard's and Gaylord in the backfield for the Wildcats.
Number 4 is one-on-one coverage, so look if they're going to throw the ball to go to him.
Give the Gaylord the right side. I think he's short. Nice job right there by, again, number 56, Gutierrez on the stop along with number 7, Figueroa. Maybe a half-yard gain. It's 4th and 2. The Wildcats are going to go for it. They figure that their defense must be stronger than Shafter's offense right now.
Yeah, or they don't trust their kicker. Either
Yeah.
way, I mean, it's worth it. You're up by 1. If you have a kicker, you definitely kick it. You're up by 4.
You got to watch the freeze count. Give up to Woodards at the middle. He's met head on. I don't think he's going to get a first down with a nice stop. Nice job by the Generals. Right there is Rafi Roman Amador along with Seha. That was a very nice defensive stop for the Generals. Woodards had the ball. First and 10 for Shafter. They take over on their own 17, 18-yard line. 3:56 to go in the game.
I think if I'm Taft, you got to give it to Cody on that carry. He's been the workhorse all night. He's your biggest back.
You know, he left the game, and I haven't seen him back in the backfield. He's playing defense. Yeah, he's out there on defense. Yeah, interesting. Shafter first and 10 on their 17 or 18-yard line. 3:56 in the game. Flag on the play. They say procedure.
Shafter's really got to look. I think they really have to look back in. You know, they've been getting past Taft's defensive backs pretty well all night. They're playing very soft coverage.
1st and 15. Give the Rose up the middle to the left side, still moving. Hit by Taft, still feet going. I tell you what, that's a great job by Cole Rhodes. He got back that 5 yards plus another 6 or 7. The ball's up to the Shafter 25-yard line. They give him a gain of 11, 12 yards. So instead of being 2nd and 10, 2nd and 2. It's a gain of 13 on that play. Nice run by Cole Rhodes. 13. It seems interesting now. Shafter's taking their time, and you pointed out, and they got their tempo going. Give the Rhodes left side, back up the middle. Oh, nice move. Tripped up initially by number 85, Sutherland, but not before Cole Rhodes gains enough for a first down. The clock has stopped and moved the chain. The ball is now after 32-yard line, 3 minutes.
And Shafter's been running those screens a lot too, so look for them to fake the screen and possibly take a chance. It's deep too.
Yeah, I think they're going to throw it right here.
There it is right there. There's a fake screen.
Nice catch. What a nice catch right there. Good coverage by Taft at number 3 for Shafter. Alex Aguirre goes up and makes a nice catch. Kept his foot inbounds.
Yeah, so they just sent
Seeing the replay
the
here.
H-back out on the wheel. So it was back to that. It's really set up off of a screen, and instead of going to block the corner, he takes off running. And actually, Taft defender did a good job in coverage.
Those Rhodes up the left side, cuts the middle, moves his feet. Rhodes really moves his feet well. Nice gain of about 13, 14 yards. That pass play is good for 19 yards for a first down. The ball is now inside Taft territory. They're at the Taft 32, 33-yard line. Nice run by Cole Rhodes. There's 2:46 in the game. They set the chains. The clock starts. 2:40 and counting.
And Shafter, I'm going back to that fast temp right now. You got Taft on their heels right now.
And they get up the middle. He was hit, not going anywhere. Maybe a 1-yard gain. Number 11, Julian Wooders, initially on the stop. Second and 9, 8.5. The ball is right at half 31-yard line. 2 minutes to go in the game. This time 44 has the ball. Espinoza off the right side. Hit by number 85, Sutherland. Espinoza gains about 3 yards, perhaps. Brings up 3rd down. The ball just inside the Taft 30 at the 29. 3rd and 6. Espinoza in the backfield. Get to Espinoza. Turns upfield before he's run out of bounds. Close to first down. Might be a little bit short. Depends upon the spot.
Sloan's been impressive out there, the freshman wide receiver blocking his tail off.
Yeah, he did a good job on that, sealing the corner. Gave a little space for the running back on the edge. Well, it looks like they did give him the first down.
First down. Good job for Espinoza. There's a timeout on the field. Having chain game problems. Instead of a first down, it's 4th and 1. 4th and 2.
Talked about earlier, when the referees have to group up like this, there's not good communicating going on within them. It's been a problem all night. And now Shafter's going to get a penalty on.
Oh, no. This is frustrating and I know that, Coach, you can relate to this, where there is poor communication and, again, not trying to be critical of the crew, but all night they've been very indecisive with what's been going on, and it gets frustrating.
Yeah, but that was an error on the Shafter sideline right there. You cannot
without
do
a doubt.
that. That's where it. At the end of the day, the officials, you have to trust in what they do. They might be good or bad, but they're in control of the game, and whatever they call, they call. This isn't college. You don't have replay. You don't have definitive results on calls. So, whatever they call, you just have to roll with it as a coach. And understand, like it's about the kids, and so your decisions are ultimately going to affect, what happens to your team, and then you put yourself in a situation like this where now, they might be backed up, which they will be.
Now it'll be 4th and 17.
And at the end of the day, you could yell and scream all you want, but that's not going to change the official's mind. It might even make it worse for your team later on in the game. So, yeah, you just can't do something like that.
Yeah, especially there's a minute 18 to go in the game. The ball is spotted at the Taft. Looks like their 40-yard line.
And from experience, when you get on the officials, like you said, Jackson, it usually does not go your way. It actually only gets worse. I've worked for guys and coached with guys that, are constantly on the officials, and usually the game never goes in your favor from that point.
And there's still some anger down the Shafter sidelines between the coaches and the referees, and you just got to move on at this point. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, but that was a smart by coach calling it out. It gives you some time to cool your heads and then look through your playbook for a 4th and 17 call, which I don't think any offensive coordinator has a 17 call. So you really got to talk about what you're going to do here and how we're going to get the first down.
I think I would go to Sloan. I think he's your best receiver. He's come up big in games before on long, deep passes. I would go to him.
Well, tonight with who they have out there, he's the most athletic and by far their best deep threat. Aguirre is a tough receiver. Figueroa is a tough receiver, but I think if they're going to look for somebody, Marion Sloan, he made a couple really key catches last week against Chavez. And right now you have –
This is where you miss Bernal, too, because he was that vertical threat for the Generals.
Yeah, and they're going to safety high coverage right here, but you still have man coverage up top, which is always something I would do. Yep.
Going deep. Zone. Broken up.
That was good coverage by Taft for the safeties. They didn't let Sloan split middle of the too high safety look, and I think that might do it for the game.
And he actually had number 7 up top, wide open down the field, and so that might not have been the first read in his progression. Like we said earlier, we got a freshman quarterback. I can almost promise you he'll run this game going into next year, and he'll grow and get better from it and learn how to see those mismatches or those matchups and exploit them down the road in his career.
Well, we got first and Taft. There's a minute and 10. Shafter has 2 timeouts. They give the ball to Gaylor on the right side. He gets to the edge, and he's brought down, but not before the clock is still running. A 7-yard pickup. Shafter calls a timeout. There's 55 seconds. Taft has 2nd and 4. They give him a 6-yard pickup. Well, this is not expected. Looks like unless something really crazy happens, Shafter's going to drop to 0-2 in league. Kind of puts a damper on the homecoming night. And it's just one of those unfortunate things where a couple mistakes here seems to be the difference.
The thing that hurts about this one too, they've really done it to themselves with turnovers in the second half. If you don't turn those ball over on those two possessions, you probably win this game.
Yeah. And the mistake from the sideline with the penalty.
And if you're Taft's running backs, hold on to the ball and don't go out of bounds. That's the two biggest things.
Looks like Coach Ferrucci is still pleading his case from.
Yeah, and you're not going to get the back. You know, this is just rubbing salt in the wound. You know, but you know, it's oftentimes it's good to get an explanation so you understand where the officials are coming from, their perspective, and it kind of puts your mind at peace and allows you to move forward.
Give the ball to Gaylor again, as expected, running at the left side, and he gets a first down. That's going to seal the game. I mean, unless Taft can just kneel the ball, I wouldn't expect they would hand the ball off. There's no need to.
No, this
Shafter does call a timeout
because that was their last timeout, so they'll kneel it, one snap, take time off the clock unless they want to get their running back a little more carries and experience, but oftentimes that's not the case.
No, I mean this is tough. Shafter's had two back-to-back 1-point losses, and it boiled down to, unfortunately for the Generals, they made more mistakes than the other team.
And usually what you that's common in very young teams. You know, Shafter's a very young team. Not a lot of, I think they only have 4 or 5. A lot of sophomores and juniors on the team and a few freshmen. And, you know, with experience as a player and as a team, you know, as a group, you're going to make a lot of mistakes until you learn, you know, how to fix those things. And so from the Shafter coaching perspective, losing 2 tough games by 1 point, you really have to watch the film and look at, okay, what did we do wrong? Why are we making these mistakes? And how do we fix them moving forward? Because, you know, losing 1 point games is, you know, those are tough ones, but, you know, they're doing something right because they're in the games. And so you really have to look at the details of the game, you know, and what they're doing wrong. And that's how you improve as a team. And, you know, it's all is never lost.
Right. Well, there's 20 seconds to go. No more need to snap the ball. Taft's going to win 29-28. On behalf of HQTV, I'd like to thank Taylor and Jackson for being up here. You guys always provide good insight. Our next home game is in 3 weeks. For those of you listening, I guess we're off the air. Here we are talking with Brian Feaster, the Athletic and Activities Director here at Shafter High.
That's a Feaster interview right there.
Why are you saying it?